across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
What is that? What is this? Is that Mark Dolan's music? Is it? Right, we don't know whose music. Should we start again? Meghan Markle is already getting involved in this bloody radio station. She's changed my music bed. It's Fun Time Friday. Hello, my name's Jeremy Carley with Talk Breakfast, the home of common sense. Usually it starts slightly differently. Mark, just wave when we're... Right, stop. Let's start it from the beginning. We'll do it again. This is Friday. I'm here. Mark is here. I was about to start by saying, spot this for professionalism. We can't even speak. Let's go again, Big M. Brilliant. Good morning, my friends. Just after 6 o'clock, we're live across the UK. I was just looking out of Studio 1 here. Well, there's only 3. And the sun is literally rising across London town. And it is a brilliant, brilliant day because you've got me, you lucky people, for 4 hours. And you've got Big M. He's in. We're doing Fridays. No more comment. Listen, if you do want to be in, I don't know what you're doing, I don't know where you are. If you're part of Alarm Clock Brit, you're always welcome to this show. Your views on the day's news are always welcome. I don't know if you are on your way to work, heading away for the weekend, coming back from the night shift, but this show has always been about you, and we're delighted to get your involvement. You're waking up to really only two news stories, to be honest, and I'm not going to lie. Front page of The Sun nails it. Developments breaking overnight as this story about Meghan Sparkle and Prince Harry, the ginger whinger, returning to the United Kingdom yesterday. Everybody went mad for this story. Did the king know? How are they going to earn a living? Who's going to pay for their security? Are they going to... look at this, the front of The Sun. Royal Harry Summit at Balmoral. The king has come out today very, very quickly and said, my priority is William, Catherine and the monarchy. Many people are saying, what are they going to do, the Sussexes? What, allegedly live in the Cotswolds? Their kids are apparently enrolled in a school already. Who's going to pay to look after them at school? The British taxpayers? There was a poll yesterday saying nearly 80% don't like her, and the majority of people don't want them here anyway. It's an extraordinary developing story. How long has it been planned? And let's not forget, I was reading something this morning, and I don't have your opinion, it's really important, but this is a woman who called this country racist. This is a woman who said, I don't like anything about the royal family. I couldn't be me. Harry felt this. I felt that. It was awful. We were ostracised. Remember the pressure that the people near them put on Catherine when she had cancer. William will never forgive the situation because of what happened in terms of when the Queen was dying, what happened when the Duke of Edinburgh was dying. You can't just sweep that away because you've run out of options in Hollywood and you fancy coming back. I just think it's an extraordinary story. Front page of the Mail, look at this. Sussex's security could cost taxpayers $5 million a year. And the amazing Sarah Vine, who was on yesterday, Harry swanning back in must be enraging for William. So, my friends, 0344 499 1000, text to 87222. And just as a little side note, and I have to give real credit to G-Spot. Damien came up with this just now. This is brilliant. Rumours overnight that Meghan either has already signed up for an acting or TV job or is actively looking for. So I want your suggestions. Today's prize is actually, this is very different. We've got a Muller corner yoghurt, a strawberry Muller corner yoghurt. And other brands are obviously available. But listen, on a serious note, I want to know what you think she should be in. What television show or film, horror it might be, would Meghan Markle come back to England for? I don't want boring stuff, but Naked Attraction. Charlie Rowley is with me, has already said pointless. 87222, start your message with the word talk. And more about, of course, the ongoing saga and horror that is the migration problem. The Home Office is facing fresh scrutiny this morning. Yesterday, you remember that document that said, if you are coming here, kindly don't rape women or abuse children. Overnight, another document has surfaced which says, our advice for you to make sure you get to stay is to go and stay with friends and family. Oh, brilliant. OK, that's it. Also, apparently, the British government are so switched on, they say the French are becoming more effective to stopping boat crossings, which is a complete and utter load of tosh. So it is 6:07, and I say good morning to my partner in crime, the hinge to my brackets, the right to my left. Hello, darling.
Hello, good morning.
Charlie Roll is in the house.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Fun time Friday.
So let's start straight away. Meghan Markle, acting, television programme. Pointless for you, anything else? Can you imagine her in the jungle?
Oh, well, actually, I'd actually pay good money to see that, I
Would
think.
you?
But I think there are other programmes are available, you know. Who do you think you are? I'm sure a lot of people are asking her that.
Very good.
You know, who do you think you are?
Morning
So
to
just
Mark. He says, morning, Jez and Charlie. Have you seen the rubbish on TV these days? Yes, it's not what it was, is it? Makes me wonder how bad a show was to be rejected. Maybe she'll end up on that jungle show with those two Geordies, says Mark in Croydon. Jez says, Shazza the Postie. How many times have you been bitten? Why did I say that? Hey, Jez, Meghan should host The Traitors. She has plenty of experience. Loving it.
Of course.
Loving it.
Of course.
This story, you know, I had a couple of people say to me yesterday, oh, my God, but it is such a huge story. It's on the front of every single newspaper. You weren't here yesterday, you lazy git. What's your take on it? Your take, personally, Charlie?
I mean, there's so many layers to it. I mean, I think it is... At the end of the day, I suppose my gut is telling me that I want Harry and his dad to have some sort of relationship. I want them to reconcile and put their differences aside. Dad is the king of our great country. He's got cancer, and I don't want any ill feeling or any regrets to be had between a father and son. I really don't. So I'm all for that. Harry has been a spoilt child for the last 10 or so years. He's thrown his toys out the pram. He's been blinded by, I think, a woman that has clearly caught his affections and would do anything
Can I just do this? Because I know that Christian's terribly worried about me doing this, but it's the answer I gave to the editor of the Sun newspaper when I came back here 4 years ago. Harry is blank whipped by Meghan Markle. That is, it's fact.
Yeah.
It's fact. You can see it a mile off. And you can give, initially, maybe the argument that he lost his mum and he was an older woman, but it's just consequences to what you say and do that worries me.
Yeah, yeah.
She's so trashed my country. She so turned a boy who was really good in the army and was obviously a bit lost into this... I don't know, and it enrages me.
Absolutely, and that's backed up by where we are now, because a year ago he was giving an interview saying, I can't imagine even bringing my family back to the UK. How terrible we must still be. What an awful place that it must be for him to reside. That's why he's left, and that's why there's no chance of coming back. Well, 12 months later, and less than that, because they've already enrolled their kids in a UK school, they've obviously picked out where they're going to live, and, you know, coming back within the next few weeks, I would have thought. So it can't be that bad. The idea that he hasn't got that belief, actually, because if you really believe that the UK is such a terrible place for his family, he'd say, look, love you, darling, I love my kids, but we can't go back. I don't want us to go back. You'd be...
And let's not forget what she said about this country. The royal family is racist. That horrible documentary when she feigned to curtsy and laughed and sneered. The only reason she's coming back, in my humble opinion, is she's reached the cul-de-sac. Hollywood said, get lost. I just want to play you a clip. This was them on their freedom flight 6 years ago. This is what they thought about this country. Have a watch.
It's 6 a.m. on the 14th of March, and we are on the freedom flight. We are leaving Canada, and we are headed to Los Angeles. Grandma's here. Hi, Grandma. Brutus here, with a ball in her mouth.
Why'd you say hi? You're about to go where mommy's from.
So busy is the current situation, thanks to another amazing friend who we've never met, but who believes in us and wants to help.
That'd be Tyler Perry that gave them his house for 6 months and then realised they were a couple of grifters, right? And then said nothing. I don't want to make light of this, right? Actually, I do. Morning, Ben.
Morning, Jeremy. Ben from the Black Country. I hope this isn't a bit too soon, but I'd like to see Meghan Markle on a rerun of the Jeremy Kyle show. His lie detector results. Because let's face it, whatever she says, it's going to come back that she's lied, and as a result, the marriage will split, and that'll be the end of them. Happy Friday. Sure it's going to be a great show.
There have been many times in the last 7 years that I have been approached, asked and begged for, actually, in all honesty, to bring back the Jeremy Kyle Show, and there might be some news on that, but that will be one hell of an episode. Let's get Meghan Markle on the Jeremy Kyle Show that way. Can you imagine? I asked you, Meghan, did you ever... Oh, my God.
I agree.
Oh! You just came back to me then, and that was a really weird moment.
but a fantastic
Johnny after the
one.
break, we're right back. Oh, God.
but people would want that, but that treatment of Meghan, because she has torn, torn the family apart, completely talked down our royal family, put the Queen through hell.
I mean, let's remember that, and that's why William, and this is the point that I want to make. Listen, yesterday, Peter Blexley blew me away in terms of he sat there and he talked about forgiveness, and you're quite right. You want to be reconciled with your father, but I was brought up about actions, boundaries and consequences. She trashed. And let's remember, while the Duke of Edinburgh was dying in the hospital, right, they did spare. Oprah Winfrey, while the Queen was dying, they did spare. It was always about them, right? I saw a young boy slightly lost, taken advantage of by this woman who ticked all the right boxes and demanded that. But it's always been about them. And what they should both understand is that, contrition's quite a good word, isn't it?
Yep.
Come and apologise.
Yeah,
Come out and apologise. But if you've done something wrong in life, then you apologise. But I can't... What I don't get is, do they think it's just going to just fall into place? I'm with William, not through blind madness, but because William, OK, got his head... All those people who go, poor Harry, this will be a really unpopular comment, poor Harry lost his mother, so did William. So did William, OK? His wife had cancer while friends of Meghan and Harry were pushing conspiracy theories online. And yet he kept his head down and grafted and brought up his kids, right? The Queen, all that rubbish. The Duke of Edinburgh, they've got to be able to acknowledge the pain that they've caused and the difficulty they've caused. And no, what do we get? They're just going to waltz back in.
Absolutely. And the total hypocrisy of saying, look, they think the UK's a terrible place, we've got to move away, we don't want any press intrusion, we don't want to deal with media, and then, and they want to leave the royal family, so they have their titles taken away from them, but still use on, headed paper, their Royal Highnesses, Her Royal Highness, the
And do you think they're going to
Duchess
sit in the Cotswolds whilst the trooping of the colour or... I don't know, Royal Ascot. Do you think they do? Because then people say, I suspect this is what the Royal Family Summit, by the way, which is Royal Harry Summit, Balmoral. Then people will start saying, why are they being ostracised? I'm too cynical about it, and I believe that they are. I think there's more to it. I can't get away from it. I think it's been planned.
Well, I was on a show last night.
Which show was that?
It was a USA show.
Were you? How did you get that?
It was another not as.
Did you get paid for it?
As good a channel as this.
Did you get paid for it?
I did. It was my contribution was. I reserved my best for breakfast. Obviously, with you.
Well, you're much better in the morning. I always feel you're up for it.
But I am.
Yes, you are.
The rumours are true. The rumours are true.
Yes,
but we had
limp at night.
But we were talking to. There were a couple of people from America on the panel.
A couple of Americans.
Yeah, I was just
Hello, Mr. American. How are you?
Miss these Americans. However, I thought, and we were obviously talking about this because it's front page news on both sides of the Atlantic.
Sure.
And I was expecting, a few people to sort of say, Charlie, calm down. Why are you so incensed about them? Actually, Meghan's not a bad person. They couldn't care less.
No,
they couldn't care less about Meghan because they just don't think that she exists. She's tried all these things on Netflix. She's produced jams. She's done whatever she needs to. A podcast that completely failed to take off. But the Americans don't notice. They don't care about her.
that was that for me, and I always said this from day one, and I can't move from this because it's how I feel. I absolutely, and you can go back and check, was very supportive when they both said, I want out of this. I don't want to be in this goldfish bowl. Good. Really respect you. But 15 hours later, you land in LA and you sign a $100 million deal with Netflix, and every part of me and any sympathy I had dissipates, because you're now going to spend whatever little time you've got before your popularity wanes digging dirt on the institution you say you want nothing to do with. Then Spotify, the podcast thing, that lasted 6 months. The guy, the boss, I can't remember his name, said it's the worst signing I ever made in the history of my life.
Yep.
Listen, if they're going to come back here and work, then personally I think or work in terms of how it works, they're going to have to show contrition. But I don't buy it. Meghan, we're just having a laugh this morning because it's a fun time Friday. What television show could Meghan either be in or present? Because the truth is, that is a rumour this morning that she could get back into acting. Do you remember that? Do you remember that red carpet thing where Harry whispered to the boss of Disney, "She does voiceovers, you know." Do you remember that?
I guess, yeah.
I mean, Jesus God. Meghan says, who is this? No idea. Thorpe. Meghan could present Match of the Day. Well paid, and you need little or no bloody knowledge of the game. That's a good idea. Morning, Tim is in Winchester. Morning, Jezza and Charlie. Meghan could go on Dragon's Den and see if anyone would invest in her jam business, as she's apparently got 50,000. Have you tried her jam?
I haven't, no. No, I won't swallow anything.
With or without pips? Smooth or bitty? Why would they come back to this tinderbox of a country? She will stir the pot politically. They are both to the left. Don't forget that. I think it's a really good point. Craig from Goole. Suits unemployed. Love it. Morning, Jez. Meghan should present Jack and Ori. Do you remember Jack and... You're too young for that.
No.
A person at 7 o'clock at night read... You remember, Marky, don't you? Some television presenter said, today's story for the children before they go to bed. I mean, nowadays, somebody would say, well, it's a bit weird, isn't it? But it was quite a good story. She should present Jack and Ori, as she can make up any bloody story, normally one involving a chip on her shoulder, says Ed in Coventry. With El Nino heading our way, maybe it's time to start dreading... what? Dreading our... Right, brilliant. OK, that's about water storages. I think Steve's talking to another show because he's talking about water shortages in the reservoir. Probably times, yeah. Jez, Charlie, Meghan, perfect for Voldemort in the new Harry Potter series, says Jenny. Oh, Christine says, I worry about Charlie on a daily basis. I think he should employ Meghan to look after him and cook nice food.
That's very kind, but I think I'll pass.
You're not coping very well, though. I do you want to tell them the shirt story? Ladies and gentlemen, about 3 weeks ago, Charlie came into the studio and I thought, geez, what's that pong? I mean, there was a real smell, wasn't there?
It wasn't that
Oh,
bad.
it was?
I was self-conscious of it, but I don't think
So Charlie irons his own shirts, and anybody with cotton shirts knows that you have one of those water guns. I mean, you can do it from the iron, but the water guns are better to soak the shirt. And he said to me, I've worked out why the smell is. And I said, what's that? He said, well, in the flat... He said it's one of those spray bottles, he said, with, I think it must be plant insecticide, and it's been there about 4 years. And he said, I forgot it was water, and he said, I stink. That's true, isn't it?
Well, that's broadly the thrust of it, but not entirely. It was.
It's radio.
I wasn't spraying my shirts with, pesticides.
But it was from a bottle that had been left outside.
It was a bottle of water that I just hadn't changed the water in that.
In 14 years, you smelly boy.
And I thought I've been washing these shirts the same way for the last, good 20.
Can I
years.
share something with you, which I think is probably a radio first, but I've decided that I've always thought with this show that one should be honest. And please keep your calls coming and your texts about Harry and Meghan. We'll talk about migrants as well. I had an invasive procedure yesterday. I don't want to go into too much detail. I'm sure we can all make of this what we want. This is genuinely a true story, and I'm sure somebody will pick this up. This is true. Really lovely surgeon guy, and I was a little bit... we don't need to go into... Anyway, he said... I don't know how to put this, Christian. I'm trying to help me out here. He said, I have to insert a part of my hand, a digit, very good, a digit for the obvious reasons. But would you prefer 2 digits? And I went, no, why? And he went, I just thought you might like a second opinion. That's genuinely what happened to me yesterday afternoon.
Well, let's say we didn't make a fist of it.
Oh, God! Richard, good morning.
Good morning, Jez. Good morning, Charlie. Yes, going back to the royal family. Yes, our precious royal family that are masters and guide us all through life and this and that. And yes, and Meg and Harry's coming home and we're going to do this and who's paying that. And I'll tell you what, the only people that are really bothered about them is you lot. You, the media, you, the friends of royal family, you that get your Christmas cards and your birthday cards, send them in, and when you wave your little flags, why us people out here are suffering from high cost bills, invasions, this, that.
Is that it? I don't disagree with him. I actually genuinely don't. And the thing is, Rich, I've always been honest. I don't get a Christmas card. The old man used to. But on a serious note, I get it. And it is in every single newspaper. The Sun, the Mail, front of the Times, right? Front of the Daily Express. For every single news, front of the Telegraph. So I get it. Of course there are things, I said it yesterday, of course there are things that are far more important that are happening in this country, and I can understand that people with the cost of living crisis and seemingly the massive problems they've got with immigration and taxation and law and order and all the things that we go on about every single goddamn day on this show and this station, people will look at it, some and go, this is so goddamn pointless. But that's the irony. No, irony is the wrong word. That's the sadness of this situation, isn't it? Because there is so much to clear up in this country, and we are all talking about two rather entitled, arrogant, spoilt couple of people.
Absolutely, and look, you know...
But I can't apologise, because this is what people... And Richard, what I will say is millions of people want to talk about it.
Yeah, and look, you know, and millions of people, Richard, will not want to talk about it because they want to get about their everyday lives. But let's not forget, you know, by leaving the royal family in the way that they did and taking a step back and not wanting to be working royals...
It was a massive thing.
It was a massive thing, not just because they chose that path, but if they'd gone off into, you know, the LA sunset quietly, as they said that they were going to do, because they didn't want press intrusion and all the rest of it, then coming back 6 years later would just be a sort of a non-story. OK, they're back, but they're still maintaining a private life. But the fact is that they said that they would want to go and have a quiet life, but didn't use the media for their own ends, just for money. As you said, absolutely rightly, to make money on the back of the royal family. By the way, it's not just the royal family, you know, the head of state, the head of the Commonwealth.
And I'll tell you why, Richard, and the people like Richard, another Richard, say, morning, Jez, Charlie, is it Friday or Thursday? Because we heard all this royal farce yesterday, I get it. But let me tell you how I can equate that to working Brits and alarm clock Brits. Look at the front of this newspaper, the Daily Mail. Their security could cost £5 million, and that'll come out of your pocket, the British taxpayer. This has far bigger ramifications. We're making a joke about, you know, Richard says, another Richard, Meghan could be the long-lost family member of the Dingle family coming back to I mean, that'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? My favourite so far today is Lindsay, who says, morning, Jez, morning, the wonderful Charlie. If I have to watch that dreadful woman on any TV programme, you've got to bring back the Jeremy Kyle show. That's definitely the only TV show that she would be on. Bring it back, please, Lindsay. And can I have today's mug? Now, have you heard about the mug saga? This was brought up in the... There's a meeting every day at 10:30 in the office that I never attend, but I decided to attend yesterday. And Christian decided to tell the entire floor that I'm giving away mugs that we've got no budget for. and my boss, he said, are you? And I said, yes, and I'm going to keep doing it. And that was it. So, Lindsay, maybe. I'll decide. Lindsay's on the top of the list at the moment for a mug. Don't worry, Christian. Or best TV show. Well, obviously, the Jeremy Kyle show. Right, 0344 499 1000. And to prove it's not just all about Harry and Meghan, guess what, after the break... It's weird, isn't it? Because we're going to talk about illegal immigration, and I've had message after message after message from people going, when are you going to talk about something else? 6:24, good morning.
some member of the public, they said, if you were Andy Burnham, what would be the first thing that you would sort out in the UK? And I was thinking of what would be the popular consensus, not the political consensus, because I don't think the public are as concerned about rough sleeping as they are about potholes. Why doesn't he sort out the potholes and send a message to people, we're actually going to improve the quality of life in the United Kingdom? And
but
so
potholes don't matter as much as people. I mean, you can't say that.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back to 6:27. Charlie Rowley and Jeremy Kyle, not in that order, but big breaking news on Talk, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so proud of you. It's breaking news. Do you just want to tell the people of Great Britain what I've just heard?
What's
you
that?
User.
What's that?
He said to me during the break, you won't believe it. I'm doing breakfast tomorrow. I'm on the way to your crown.
I didn't say anything of the sort.
Delighted though, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Do you want me to come on?
I'd love you to come.
I'm not coming in. I'm at home. But no, honestly, Brett, give it, and I mean this, we mess around. He's brilliant. I love the bones of him. Give him a listen tomorrow morning from 6 o'clock. Whatever you're doing, Charlie Rowley will be on your radios talking about the royal family, probably. Yeah, I understand the people who don't want to. We'll talk immigration in a minute. This is a really interesting angle. Anybody who thinks that Harry and Meghan aren't cynical, listen to this. Morning, Jennifer.
Morning, Jeremy. I've been up for a few hours and I've been watching stories on this Meghan and Harry return. And there is something which I've not really got my head around, but maybe you might shed light on it, which is to do with HMRC and a 6-year law that if you go to a foreign country, the British HMRC can take some money off earnings. I don't understand it, but maybe you producers can look into that a little bit further because there might be something in that. Thanks, Jeremy.
Jennifer, you're a very shrewd lady. Harry and Meghan, if they'd come back in 5 years, would have affected capital gains tax. We checked this just now, Christian did, she's spot on. You have to achieve, Charlie Rowley, 6 full tax years of non-UK residency to manage the temporary non-resident rules for capital gains tax. So I'll tell you something at 6:30. Tell me that isn't cynical, the timing then. Go on, tell me.
Well, it's hard not to include that in some of the reasons why...
Well done, Jen. Great point,
they're coming
right?
back. You're right, because if they'd come back within 6 years, then, of course, HMRC or the Treasury could legitimately tax them as part of capital gains as part of their international earnings. So they would be based in the UK, and the UK Treasury would have access to outside earnings that they might have accumulated for business that they've accumulated, even if they're not in the UK, or even if it was outside the UK. So, but being outside of that 6-year mark means that HMRC cannot touch any of their future projects or investments.
Call me cynical, but that is a really interesting point. Now, let's give both sides of the coin. I'd love your response to this. Nigel, Harry is coming back, Mr. Carl, because he has visa problems or because his dad is sicker than we know. Either way, why don't you lot stop hounding them?
Look, I don't think it's hounding them at all. And, you know, we use that word wisely because, you know, we've just come on the back of a story of Jason Arday where the media have been apparently hounding a particular individual.
Can I jump in with that, by the way?
Yeah.
For all the people that say that about the tragedy that was Jason Arday, let's not forget what I said on Monday, OK? The faceless people heading up institutions like Cambridge University, who launched a press release to say he's our first black professor, who quite patently knew about the man's flaws, thrust him into the limelight that he wasn't able to handle. It is a really easy dig about the media, and I have been in the eye of the media, and I said nothing. I'm not... It's a tragedy what happened to Jason Early, but those people, it's a really, really easy take. Not meaning to jump in. The argument here, hounding them, they have systematically, Nigel, used the media for their own good for as long as I can remember, by briefing for and against and doing whatever, and their only oxygen, weirdly, and their only way of making a living is the media. So you can't have it both ways, because if you play the game, you are surely going to be looked at and discussed and debated, aren't you?
Absolutely. And the reason why... you know, of course they're a family, and we're looking at it from as we would look at our own families. So if you've got an ill father, yeah, absolutely, you might want to be closer to him. If you know, next year will be the anniversary of, you know, Princess Diana's death. You know, but so that he might want to be in the UK for that.
What, to make a Netflix doc? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm being cynical.
But also we've got to remember that they don't operate in the same way as a normal family do. So yes, there's the emotional attachment. I get that, but let's not forget. You're right. When he was Prince Harry and taking up royal duties, he had press officers, he had private secretaries, he had a whole office of people that were briefing the media on his behalf, that were briefing against William when there were problems.
And now he's got Omid Scobie and all his mates doing it when it suits him. I can't have that comment. Listen, if you put somebody once said when I was doing what I was doing, and, you know, and I think it's absolutely right. If you can't take the criticism, quit your highly paid job and all the joys that you get, and go back to a 9 to 5 and understand how alarm clock Britain feels. Sorry, listen, it's important to have different opinions, but I think that argument about the press is really, really, really shallow, because there's so much more to it. How do you think he sold Spare, Nigel? Why do you think he went on Oprah Winfrey, Nigel? Why do you think she did a podcast, Nigel? Why do you think they signed a $100 million deal with Netflix? That's the media. So if they lived in the Cotswold, please God they do, and said nothing and had a lovely family life, and also, Nigel, to be fair, and there's a reason I'm saying this to you, pal, I was the first person who said, when they went to California, good luck, you don't want to be in the Goldfish Bowl, go and enjoy yourself with your chickens and your family, good luck to you. Seriously, I always said that. But then they land and sign a deal. You can't have it both ways. You can't moan about press intrusion and then play the game.
Absolutely. And the actions speak louder than their words. You know, they don't want press intrusion. And Harry has obviously had legal battles with the media, which he's subsequently lost because, again, it didn't really stack up to what he was suggesting was the problem, and the media had an interest and were being briefed no end, and he was using the media, or his people were obviously using the media as well, which led to some of the stories being published, actually. So, you know, he has been embattled. But, you know, you're absolutely right. If you say you're leaving for a quiet life, you go and have a quiet life. But if you keep pleading press intrusion and I'm being hounded, to use Nigel's word, when you're the one, you know, doing the book deals, doing the Netflix, doing the podcast deals, then I'm afraid there's an element of hypocrisy there. And especially if you're using that media to tarnish and have a tirade against the royal family to try and, which could, let's not forget, you know, if people had really been divided and really taken what Harry and Meghan were saying at face value and believed any of it, you know, that could have been a real constitutional change in our country.
Mate, completely agree. Stephanie, good morning.
Morning, Jessa. And my favourite presenter, Charlie. I'm still half asleep, but I think you're missing the point with regard to Harry and Meghan. The Montecito house is not being sold, and it's Meghan's bolt hole, because when she finds it so uncomfortable here, she'll go back, of course. And I think Harry's shown a bit of backbone, and he wants his kids brought up and educated in England, because he doesn't see why they should miss out on what he's missing out. But there'll be no forgiveness from William, and the sooner Meghan goes back to America and leaves Harry and the kids here, the better.
I'd like to point out, Stephanie, you said Charlie Rowley, my favourite, and then you said, I've only just awake. When you do wake up and gain full consciousness, the reality of what you said will come home to roost. Harry, he's here to claim Pip, says Bill in Cheshire. Prince in Palace. Very good. And Richard picked up on that point that Jennifer made brilliantly. Isn't it convenient, Jez, that coming back after 6 years, no capital gains tax to be paid on his global income, that's a coincidence or not? Absolutely spot on. Tess Tickle from Nottingham, I can never... It's because you know what I always think about with that, don't you? You wouldn't. Do you remember the Mr. Men books?
I can think of something.
Oh Jesus! Do you remember the Mr. Men books? Mrs. Wobbly, Mr. Tickle. Good morning, Jez and Charlie. Harry and Meghan go on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? but I suspect they'd have trouble phoning a friend. Way, come on. Jez, I was listening to one of those Royal podcasts last night, which was hosted by one of the leading UK dailies. They made a point which confirmed what I'd thought, that this is what senior figures in the UK government are behind this. I'm not into conspiracy theories, but Labour would love to see the monarchy destroyed as part of their Marxist project. What better way than to put a couple of rats in the pen? Wow. Morning, Jez. I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. Yes, Steve in St Leonard's. JK and the brilliant Charlie. Sorry to say this, but Harry is here for his dad and Meghan is here for the cash the day the king passes. Hopefully not for a long time, but I fear maybe. She will tear Harry, get the cash and we're off, says Bill in Romsey. You see, you cannot buy that cynicism. I'd like to be a fly on the wall at Balmoral, says James. Yeah, I would as well. Talk. Barry from Dundee. The only place Meghan will get a role is to be Hollyoaks. Channel 4 love had broken down relationships, so we're better to dump a failed actress, an ex-royal, a UK hater, than on Channel 4, a station that no bugger watches. Chris is in Ottershaw. Morning, Jess. I'd like to see Meghan in a remake of the film Gaslight. Very good, isn't it? Harry is worse than Meghan. He's so jealous. Ian in Essex. Best show for Meghan is Escape to the Country. Brilliant. Graham of Welling. TV show, Brass. Don't even start. Love it. Finally, with the Sussexes' visit to Althorpe, I think Meghan is going to try to be Diana 2.0. Keith in Oswestry. One more on this, and then I'm going to talk migration. Colin, good morning.
Morning, Jason. Morning, Charlie. Colin here, truck driver from Blackburn. Good. Still out on Margaret Watch. On my way back still, back on my way down to Portugal. Now then, this new film or programme, how about Mr. Ed, the talking horse? But it talks a lot more than you, Take care, ta-da.
Not a clue. Lovely, love him being on, not a clue. Let's talk migration if we can. Shocking news. Yesterday, that document, you weren't here. Don't rape women, don't abuse kids, laid bare, I thought, the belief that the government know absolutely how heinous these unvetted males are. Today, the Home Office facing fresh scrutiny over new advice. Ready for this? The way to achieve asylum is to seek living with friends and family. That will ease pressure on us and make it easier for you to be absorbed into society. What is... Honestly, I spent 38 minutes getting wound up about Harry and Meghan. What is wrong with these people? Are they stupid?
I mean, it's... You know, it's not funny, but you've got to...
No, it isn't funny.
Try and, you know, to take some sort of, you know...
Answer me this. You were an advisor, because you're like me, you're lost for words, genuinely, about this. I have this every single day. Today, that comment, stay with friends and family. Another government source. The French are becoming more effective in stopping boat crossings. Are you bloody stupid? Have you seen the footage? They stand there with the gallows going, what are you going to do? I don't even know I've done it with my fingers. There can't be a will. There can't... I could... If you and I had... I could stop those boats, right? I'm sick of hearing about the ECHR. I'm sick of... I don't believe that any of our political class have the will to stop the boats, and I find that really appalling, because if somebody doesn't do it, right... This is a tinderbox. It can't go on.
Absolutely. Look, and there's no one solution to it. It's all of these things, and they all need to come as a package. So it is about leaving the ECHR as one thing, but it is about patrolling maybe the waters to have an actual deterrent there.
Yes.
It is about having maybe a ready-made deal that was the government could have inherited if it wanted to, a deal between the UK and Rwanda to deport people.
Did you read yesterday that Shabana Mahmood said she's now considering a third country? It fell off my bloody chair. They cancelled... My argument with Rwanda was, and it has always been the same, and you know more than me, it took Sunak far too long to implement it, massively, massively factual. The other thing, I find it deplorable that we have to use another country, use a Scottish uninhabited island. Why do we have to go to Rwanda? Build a detention centre that's not a bloody nice hotel complex, make it deliberately hard, because the message you get back. But there doesn't seem to be, this is the bit that gets me, right? There doesn't seem to be any sort of sense amongst the political class as to how wound up Britain is.
And funny isn't the right word, but what I'm really feeling is that, you know, for a long time you've had people on the left, and it is people on the left generally, who have been at the forefront of progress. So, you know, advanced women's rights, you know, voting rights, you know, advanced, you know, the rights of LGBT people, same-sex marriage, which Cameron then implemented, but it's been there for good. Equality, racial equality as well. You know, the left have got a lot of success that they can actually probably get behind in history and in moments in history. However, to see everybody now on the left who has been telling many people on the right, and myself included, how terrible you must be to try and deport these people to Rwanda, or no, all of these people that are coming over asylum seekers. Now, these are the very people that sit in this chair, talking to presenters like you, justifying, oh, it's OK for the Home Office to give these men a pamphlet to say not to rape. That's OK. They are defending people.
The Prime Minister yesterday said, I think it's important we educate people. No, stop them bloody coming, Burnham.
Precisely. But how on earth have we got into... Exactly, you talked about the political classes. How on earth have we got into a state where a political class of people that, OK, I would have thought back in the day were just, you know, kind-hearted, might be a bit dim because they can't actually, you know, they don't know much about the economy, but they want to help everybody, and that's absolutely fine. But when it comes to actually picking and choosing who we should and shouldn't have in this country, when it's actually about defending our own citizens from people that come over into our country illegally and then go on to attack women and rape women and all the rest of it who can't be deported, you would have thought that would be alarm bells ringing for them to say, you know what, actually, yeah, this has gone too far, the Home Office has got this totally wrong. It's an admission at the Home Office that we're having people in this country that commit those crimes, but to publish a pamphlet as if it's just an everyday source of information, I mean, it is ridiculous.
I'll tell you what, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, he was asked about this, Burnham, yesterday. He was also asked about small boats again. Amazingly inaccurate, uneducated response. Back in 2.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
I've done that thing again, have a biscuit during the break. It doesn't work. 7:15, we're live across the UK. So yesterday, having released this document that basically said to people coming here illegally, men, in this country, raping women and abusing kids is not a good idea. It is a different law, which to me absolutely, Charlie, says that they know the types of people who are coming in here illegally. Today, the government's released another document that says, oh, go and stay with friends and family. They'll get you through the system. Burnham, our new Prime Minister, the Messiah of Manchester, was questioned on this yesterday. Have a watch.
As a government, we have a very clear principle. If you break UK law, you will be removed from the country, and we have seen that in relation to immigration, where removals are significantly up. I'm currently working to ensure that foreign national offenders who can be removed from the prison system are removed from that system. So it follows that if we're taking this approach, people are made it's made explicitly clear what the UK law is and what the societal norms of the UK are, and that's why this approach is being taken.
If you have just watched that on YouTube, I make no apology for the next comment. He stood in a bomber jacket in a refuse bit. It looks like a dustman. Why does he always look shocked when he's asked a question? He looks at you as if to go, well, that's a ridiculous question. Burnham, quite simply this. If you need to tell people or translate for people that it's basic British law not to rape women or abuse kids, I would say, Mr. Prime Minister, that those people have no place in my society. Then, as if that wasn't enough, before he empties another bin, he was asked about small boats. Have a watch of this.
The number of arrivals, the number of crossings is significantly down, and that's the first thing, isn't it? To get a grip on the system and bring the numbers down, and that is happening. Then it's also about increasing the removals of people who've no right to be here, and they are significantly up. We do have to look at a fair approach to this across the country, but do it in the right way, and that's what we'll do.
That is the right thing to do.
Well, we've got to do it in a way that is fair, but at the same time provides secure accommodation and addresses the concerns that we've heard from people about the proliferation of HMOs in some parts of the country, the over-concentration of new arrivals in some places. So you've got to deal with those issues. I'm not flinching from anything here. I'm dealing with issues head-on. That's what I've been doing all month, and it's what I'll continue to do.
Just one thing. Can you see his face? He looks exhausted already, doesn't he? You can see that. But the point I'm going to make is this. Christian just made it, actually. There doesn't seem any urgency in that. There doesn't seem any acknowledgement that this is a crisis, that the British people have had enough, right? I don't know. And for him, and this to me is the way I do life, the word fair, it's got to be fair. You mean you've got to keep the left sweet. It's got to be fair. It's got to be left. There are unvetted men in this country who didn't bring their wives and children. They are illegal migrants who are coming here because we wipe their backsides with a package that nobody seems to get if you pay tax. If we had more balls or gumption or just desire to do something about it, and you made the point, Charlie, I could put the Navy in the Channel. We could create our own detention centre that wasn't very nice. We could train a crack team of Border Force officials. I don't believe that there is a politician currently in power who has the gumption to do that. And then you go, well, you're not reading the room, are you? Because people are fed up to the back teeth.
Yeah, and the point that, Andy Burnham tried to make a second ago by saying, look, if you break the law in this country, you'll go to prison. But that's not good enough, because he's failing to accept what the Home Office itself has now admitted, that there are people coming into the country pleading asylum, pleading refuge, because they're fleeing some sort of persecution. But their culture is that maybe they treat women a hell of a lot differently than we do in this country.
And isn't it ironic? Is it as ironic to you as it is to me that all those feminists who jump up and down, all those lefties who go, women's rights, and you go, yeah, absolutely, women's rights, women's rights. They'll stick up for a migrant. I mean, I had this in Bournemouth, and I apologise, because this is something that enrages me. There was a girl in Bournemouth a year and a bit ago who was attacked by two migrants. She was 15, walking. It went to court. They got off for whatever reason. And I went on a show and I said, this is disgusting. This is. We need to look at where these men come from and their values. And somebody I won't mention said to me, and it still enrages me, white men rape women too. Not a mention, my friend, of the 15-year-old schoolgirl. So what, your women's rights have gone out the window? You can't have it all ways. In this blind acceptance that all of these people come from war-torn countries, which is, with respect, complete crap, they forget the values that we're talking about. And I want to talk about the safety of girls and women in England, and we are putting them in danger. That is not racist. It's not far right. It's bloody factual. Why? Guy, you me on my thing now, and I haven't asked you this. Why will this government not release the numbers of crimes committed by foreign illegals? That is, if I was any part of any other party, ears open reform, I would be on that like you can't believe, because they're hiding what's going on.
Yeah, for the same reason, the government probably tells police chiefs so that you can't release details of a suspect, because that might inflame more tension. Well, actually, the public have a right to know what suspects police are looking for, just as they've got a right to know the ethnicity or the background of a potential perpetrator or the actual perpetrator, people that committed those crimes. But just to take that point, because I hear it time and time again, you're absolutely right. People will say, hold on, the majority of rapists and sex offenders in this country are white Brits. Yes, because that's the majority of the population, and that is not untrue. However, we're talking about the proportion of crimes committed by other groups of people. You would never say, right, take a minority of people who are more disadvantaged in our education system, right? There are a minority of people, but you target that minority to get that up to scratch. If it's a health issue, you target a minority of people to say, we're not going to leave these people behind, but we know that if you're black, for example, you're more likely to have prostate cancer. Therefore, we're going to give you, because of your demographic, screening and availability over both. Because
Thanks for reminding me about yesterday afternoon.
But that's just one that came to mind. But you target people and to help them.
Yeah, I know.
And if you apply that to education and the health service, you've got to apply it to crime. And so when you have a group of people that come over to this country that disproportionately commit more crimes above the average population size, then that's got to be an issue. There's people from Afghanistan that are committing more crimes in comparison to the rest of their population size that are here. So you have to call that out.
Were you with me this week when that Labour MP laid bare what I believe to be the truth? What was his name again? Sorry, help me out. Sam Rushworth, Bishop Auckland.
Yeah.
I mean, he said to me, they all speak English. I mean, I made the point we spend £100 million on interpreters, and he said it's because of our colonisation in the old days. And honestly, that to me was just like, that laid it out there. Now, we've tried to talk about something else, but surprise, surprise, all the texts and messages are about this. Morning, boss.
Okay, travelling boss here. You know what? Labour must be rubbing their hands and going, cool, we can get better PR than this. The story of Harry and Meghan coming back. Well, I don't give a crap about them two, but this story's going to take over now for 2 or 3 days. And meanwhile, Labour are still in the background there with all this stuff coming out about their migration problems.
Which is why we just talked about it on Talk. Morning, Jess. Jess, he's put morning, Jess. This is Baz in West Brom. Harry and Meghan trashed this country, trashed the family, and now he's running home with his ginger tail between his legs because the Americans are fed up with his grifting pair. Agreed. JK and the wonderful... Oh, honestly. Oh, God. This is Margaret in Birmingham. She says, I have to win Mug of the Day. I say, why? She says, I love Charlie. He just keeps giving. Do you? I'm not quite sure about that.
I live to
Hides in the bathroom when it thunders, and now the shirt debacle. Hurry up, Charlie, get a cat.
Yes.
That's Margaret in Birmingham.
It's heading in that direction, I'm afraid.
Margaret won it yesterday. She won it yesterday. She's not getting another one then. Mike's in Darlington, first-time texter. 5 million taxpayers' pounds for the ex-royals and family for the year, or 5 million for 1,500 illegal migrants for a week in a camp. That's a debate. Top show, Jesse and Charlie. Sorry, it's Jezza. Wherever bloody well we go. Ian's in Australia. Hey, hello, mate. I've heard Meghan has the leading role in the movie sequel Never Ending Story. Keep up the great work, guys. Bill. So, JK, so you had 1 digit yesterday. No. No. It's your biscuit talk again. I thought, says Mary, that Harry said the UK was unsafe for his family. Sandra says, I know what she should star in, Meghan Markle. The sitcom Love Thy Neighbour. Ross here, can't stand the pair of them, but if they kept quiet, did some good and didn't act so entitled, we might be more sympathetic. As for press intrusion, following the Our Day situation, I hope doesn't start her racism nonsense again. At the moment, I feel that given the present government, the press is our only defence against the lies and stupidity of our so-called politicians. Hear, hear. Howard, will Harry and Meghan be living next door to a traveller's site or an HMO, or will they somehow be spared? Very good. Another Maggie, this one in London. Like you, Jeremy, don't forget how she took the pee out of our lovely late Queen with her curtsy. Harry looked on and didn't correct her. I think they are running low on funds and definitely running out of friends. So much response to this morning. Steve, morning, Jez and Charlie. IMO, what does that mean?
In my opinion.
All right. That pamphlet to the illegals is in case someone tries to sue the government. Now they can slope any writs to the migrant concern, but like how businesses do with employees, once the employers had the relative training, that's a good point. It's really such a big story, and for people who think it isn't, £5 million of taxpayers' money, front page of the Daily Mail. Because there's the truth, right? He's come back. He was denied this security for years. He's now back full-time. Are you going to tell me that a prince, a duke, a prince, whatever, and his young children, they're going to go to day school, apparently, I've read, not boarding school, which means they're going to have to be picked up and dropped off every day. That means security to and from school and security at the school while they're there. I cynically am going to suggest this to you before you leave me. I think they knew that. That's why they've come back, to get what they want.
Well, that's a possibility, but, I mean, it's a maybe a tenuous link I'm trying to make now, but, you know, people are upping arms about, you know, £5 million for security that was a gift. Nigel Farage says he received that $5 million for his security. Someone that is actually in the public eye day to day, someone that is actually running a political party, someone who is actually targeted more often than not.
547 death threats in the last few months.
Absolutely. And he has gone for that security, which has been funded, in his words, because what the security he was offered was about, I think, one police officer that wasn't enough.
No.
Now, if Harry is going to get security, I would imagine it should only be the most minimal, because as far as I can see, they're just celebrities.
If he's a non-working role, he shouldn't have it. But that begs the question, is there going to be some sort of role? Very quickly, one last voice note. It's short, apparently.
And where's me mug?
Sorry?
And where's me mug?
Who are you?
And where's me mug?
Is that all you're going to say to me?
And where's me mug?
You are a mug, mate. How am I supposed to know where to send a mug? And honestly, what is this?
And where's me mug?
I know that. I don't know your name. God alive. Are you leaving now? Stop it. Where are you leaving now?
I'm afraid I'm...
Why are you going?
Because, unlike you, Jeremy, you can turn up here Monday to Friday and without any preparation at all and do this job as if, you know, seamlessly. I might.
You're into the office to get a sausage, aren't you?
I need a few extra hours to prepare for tomorrow morning.
Right, listen, let's just say tomorrow morning breakfast from 6 a.m. live across the UK. Charlie Rowley makes his breakfast debut and I'll be on the show as well. It's going to be amazing. We love you. Thank you. Back next week
It's
as
all
well
down
in
to
your new...
Of course.
We've got a bit of a joint announcement next week. God, that sounded like an engagement party. Right, news at 7 next. Thank you, Charlie. Ta-ra!
You doom-mongers, you're just killjoys, aren't you?
That's just silly, isn't it? I'm not a doom-monger. I'm a fact-monger.
Yeah? Well, why can't people just enjoy the summer?
And 1,000 people are dead. And 20 people have lost their homes.
No, well, that's bad.
And
I agree with that.
And our army has stretched beyond breaking point.
But your facts, you can't say 1,000 people have died because of climate change. That's right.
Well,
you laugh in a condescending way. You're making yourself look ridiculous. Don't blame me.
This is not a discussion. This is just a rant.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk. across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back and welcome along. Just gone 7 o'clock. Yes, it's Friday and I'm here. It's the 1st of August. Well done, Jez. Brilliant. We're live across the UK. A very good morning to you. This is JK till 10. Whatever you want to talk about, as ever, your views, Alarm Clock Brits on the day's news are all that matters to us, you lovely people. 0344 499 1000. We'll get you on the calls. We'll take your voice note. You can do it that way to Christian. You can also text the show. 87222. Start your message with the word talk. Tom Bauer, renowned royal author and columnist in a tick. Just what are you waking up to if you're just tuning in? You're waking up to... There's only two main news stories in town, and if you want to talk about something else, let me know. Obviously, the breaking news yesterday, shocking millions across the world. Harry and Meghan, despite slagging off this country and wanting to get away because the royal family is racist and we're all horrible people, rushed off to America for fame and fortune. Sorry, I thought it was privacy. Anyway, the dream has died. They're coming back, and it's caused absolute consternation. Front page of the Sun today, Royal Harry Summit at Balmoral. Crisis time for the royals. What are they going to do? This is the big question. £5 million it could cost you, the British taxpayer, to securely look after these two. Do they deserve to get it? Many people think not. How are they going to pay for it? If their skin? So much to talk about. So much. Here's an interesting angle that we discovered about half an hour ago. Harry and Meghan, by coming back now, achieved a full 6 years tax of non-UK residency. If you manage that, that impacts in a positive way on your global earnings. If they come back last year, they'd pay more tax. And you tell me I'm cynical. The other main news story, of course, the continuing debacle and saga of this country's inability to close its borders and deal with illegal migration. Yesterday, the Home Office humiliating itself with that document that said, if you do come here, you should know a couple of things. It's not a good idea to rape, win or abuse children. To which I just patently said, well, that tells you the sorts of people who come here, they have a different set of values. We shouldn't allow them into this country. Today, the Home Office is facing fresh scrutiny. Their other advice to asylum seekers is you'll have a much better way of winning your case if you stay with family and friends. All of them gone. Honestly, it's doing my head in. They also say this is the government at its most effective. France is doing a very, very good job. Sorry? They're doing a very, very good job. I mean, they're really stopping more small boat crossings than ever before. Really? Has anybody seen any footage of any French gendarmes doing anything positive? No, they just take the 500 million quid and take the PISS. Right, morning, Will.
Morning, Jezza. Loving the show. Will from Portsmouth. Something that's becoming glaringly clear. Burnham said yesterday, any migrant that conducts any illegal activity will be deported, right? He said that, his words. Well, surely anyone that's coming into the country illegally has already taken illegal action. So why isn't he deporting them? And this is where it's becoming glaringly obvious, is maybe they're starting to believe that coming across in these small dinghies is a legitimate way of entering the country. Because if they're not defining that as being illegal, it must be legal. It's mental.
I mean, I'm actually totally with Will. If it's illegal to come into this country, the minute you land, and Peter Blexley said this to me forever, the minute you land in this country, that surely is the fact. What are you doing now? Charlie's back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my God. We asked for Prince Charles, not Charlie Rowley. King Charles, I should say. Tina, good morning in Greater Manchester. Is it raining?
No, it stopped. Hold on, let me just stop my garment.
What?
Morning, Jeremy. Lovely to speak to you. I haven't spoken to you before, I don't think.
Hold on a minute. What's the noise in the background, love?
Oh, sorry, I was running. It's just traffic.
Right. Brilliant. Well, don't run amongst it. What are you saying?
Well, I was just ringing to say, I know Harry and Meghan have got to make some money when they come back over. So perhaps Harry could go and work for the Daily Mail to pay off his legal bill.
Thank you very much indeed, Tina in Greater Manchester. She says, why doesn't he go and work for the Daily Mail to repay his bill? Grace is in... Is that Ealing? My eyes are going. Grace, good morning.
Edith Healing, good morning. I heard Samara Gill talk yesterday about the prodigal son, although she pronounces it differently as an Australian. And she's right that repentance is part of it, you know, so I think that family reconciliation is such a fantastic thing for all of us in all kinds of situations, but also that we have to be kind of apologetic for what we've done. And in the story of the prodigal son, Jesus is illustrating how God offers us reconciliation if we repent. But I think Harry should be apologising to his dad for some of the things that he said. And I'm really annoyed by something that Kevin highlighted the other day with Kinsey Schofield about how Harry has had money that was supposed to be going towards helping human beings in memory of his mother, who are in some of the most dire situations in our world. He's had it go to elephants instead, and
I've no idea if he spent money on elephants, but I do take your point. Thank you very much, Steve Grace. Can I make a plea? If you do ring the show, can you try and hold the telephone away from your mouth rather than, in fact, have it in your mouth? I mean, I think that would make a point. So I said during the break, Tom Bower was on the way, but there's a technical problem. So then I said, can we get King Charles? And now you're back. Honestly, you're like one of his shirts, aren't you? Hello, love. Are you all right?
I'm very well.
Yes, Pete says, I can't be a mug. If I was a mug, I'd be voting Labour. Oh, that's obviously the man that left the message. Good morning, JK and Charlie. As I understand it, all MPs have 2 homes. So how about all the MPs who want these illegal men here start taking them in, starting with Vet Cooper, says Beth in Lancashire?
Well, it's hard to argue with that, isn't it? If you've got spare room and you think that they're all, you know, well and good, these people that are coming over seeking refuge, and then you can put them up.
Here's a good one for you, and I'm so glad we grabbed you away from that sausage. Merv. Morning, Jez. Morning, Charlie. So I've just seen a headline, and this is true, on the front page of the Daily Mail, that Harry's security may cost us $5 million. Why then is Labour moaning about somebody paying $5 million for Nigel Farage to be safe?
Exactly. And by the way,
it's a really good point.
And $5 million a year for Harry and Meghan, whereas, you know, Nigel's, you know, the gift that
I've said it to Nigel directly. I would have simply stood up and said, do you understand how many death threats, far more than any British politician has ever faced, do you know how many death threats and how many attacks on my family? I heard this morning that Ofcom are investigating Sky for attacking his daughter. That's an interesting story. Listen, absolutely. That's a really relevant point from Merv. Andy... I know why Andy Vermin was with all that rubbish. He was obviously trying to seek out bin face among the uncollected trash. This is a video we played of Andy Burnham yesterday. He was being prime ministerial. He had a pair of overalls on. And he was at a rubbish dump. It's very. Somebody said to me yesterday, who's not massively political. He said to me, "Are we?" He said, "I don't really care as much as you do, Jez, but he looks like a mayor trying to do a job that's too big for him."
Yeah. And I think that's coming through. I mean, I think he's very good at doing the sort of the smaller announcements and, you know, giving away the sweets, because as a mayor, you get a lot of money from central government. You're able to splash that cash for local projects to please people.
But as Prime Minister, you've got to balance the books, right?
Absolutely. And so when it comes to £2 bus cap, that's great for people that get the bus, you know, whether it's 20% off VAT for hospitality, something that his predecessor put up is not a bad thing.
Yeah, that's good, but it's going up again.
But it's going up. But when it comes to the big ticket items, the real issues, so stopping the vote, prison releases, early prison releases,
releasing the information of how many foreign criminals have committed crimes, nothing. This is from Richard. If the British government can build a secure military base in the Afghan desert during the war for thousands of troops, I'm pretty bloody sure we could build the same secure camp on a remote Scottish island for illegal migrants and have the armed forces manage it. It's exactly what I think. Rob, good morning.
Do you know, I'm sick of hearing about Rwanda as an option. Have any of you lot ever been to Rwanda? I have. I've travelled through there and driven all round Rwanda and stayed in Rwanda. I can tell you, you ain't staying there very long, because there's so many borders that you can get out of Rwanda that any asylum seekers you send there will just disappear.
This is interesting as well. Neil, I'm thinking that you guys are missing the point about using Rwanda versus a Scottish island. By using an overseas territory, different to what this guy just said, thousands of miles away, it's less likely they'll come back, and secondly, they are outside UK sovereign territory and therefore law. Is that a point?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a massive deterrent, you know, to say, right, if you make it across to the UK, you're going to be sent thousands of miles away to Rwanda rather than just, you know, north of the border. So it's a deterrent for one, but two, you're absolutely right. It's a deal struck between the UK and what would have been Rwanda or any other third country if the government are really looking into getting this kind of policy up and running again. I think it'd be a great one. I really do, because people that should not be in the UK, they're not our problem. And if you're not entitled to stay and you have to be deported, but you can't tell us where you're originally from, you've thrown your paperwork over into the sea, we can't, you know, work out where we should send you. We've got Rwanda there. Go for it.
You don't agree with the remote Scottish island? The law thing? No, I hadn't thought about that. It's quite a relevant point, right?
Yeah, I do, because I think, you know, you're in a different jurisdiction, you're no longer our problem, you shouldn't be in the UK, and if you try to come back, well, look, you know, the same fate will happen.
Lots of people absolutely just aghast to hear that the British government this morning has said that the French are becoming more effective in stopping small boat crossings despite migrants attacking the French gendarmes. Nigel says, if the French were successfully stopping thousands of crossings this year, then they'd be reporting where they are being sent after being stopped. At best, they might have delayed one or two. Right, listen, did you want to stay or go? Tom Bauer is ready. You probably want to go now.
I don't, I'm in your hands.
Charlie Rowley, tomorrow... Pardon?
I'm in your hands.
We'll stay there then. 7:14, let's say a very good morning. Always a pleasure to have this man. Everybody wants his opinion. Tom Bauer, columnist and author. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning. Very well, thank you.
Wow, what a day. Now, I'll start it by saying that a couple of people this morning have said, why are you talking about those two grifters? This is ridiculous. But this is a story that's gone round the world, Tom. And before I throw a few questions at you, what is your take on yesterday's announcement and where we are at 24 hours later?
Well, I think it's an amazing development, but also it's a bit of a mystery. I mean, why have they come back? We haven't been told. My view, they come back for two reasons. One is they're desperate. It's the end of the run in California. They're out of money, out of luck, out of opportunities. They've hit the buffer, so to speak. But also they've come back because they're trying to worm their way back into the royal family and into British life. But I don't think that it's something which is going to be permanent. I think they're trying to test the water, see what it's like, see if they can rebuild their reputations, and if it doesn't work out, they'll go back to Montecito.
It's really interesting. The King, who is suffering from cancer, and we know that, we don't know the severity of that, but he was criticised roundly on social media yesterday. Oh, you must have known, you must have known. We are told he was as blindsided as William was by finding out on Sunday. But then we also read this morning that apparently when they were over early in the year, they sounded out schools in the Cotswolds area. That's in every single newspaper this morning, and Meghan fell in love with the area. The thing that I think, Tom, and I'd love your take on this, is with them, there always seems to be some sort of duplicity and ulterior motive. There always seems to be something. And I take what you say. I think the Hollywood dream died. I don't see them sitting in the Cotswolds quietly. I see them using what they always do, whatever tie to the royals, to pull themselves out of financial hardship.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that they are manipulative to the highest degree. But you see, with the Cotswolds, for them, it was a natural destination. It's Soho House. It's where her friend Marcus Anderson has a base. They've been there before. Harry knows it very well. He doesn't need to do much scouting around there. He's got a couple of friends there, to say the least. They'll tell him which schools work. It's an easy place to slip into. And, you know, nowadays, at the present moment, there are loads of houses available to rent in the Cotswolds. Prices have fallen, so that's not a problem. So don't make much effort about thinking, did they go looking one house after another? There are some wonderful homes there which are empty and available.
How do you believe, because there's, we'll talk about security in a minute, how do you believe, Tom Bauer, that they'll make a living? Because everybody knows the Netflix deal's gone, Spotify's gone, there's 50,000 jam jars unsold with that pathetic example of a business. How are they going to survive? Do you think the King is going to fund them? Because I think that, if that turned out to be the case, I think the British public would never forgive him.
Well, I think in the immediate future, they're not short of money. I mean, they've got enough money from Harry's book and the Netflix deal and the rest to keep going. The point is that they, in the longer term, will run out of money. And I'm sure that's what is terrifying Meghan, who is a very, very money conscious person, having had a youth which was not flush with cash. I think would be appalled if the king suddenly produced any money for them. But I think that's the reason why they're here, to test the waters. You've got to remember that Harry has got the chance of building up a charitable life here, so he's been serving charities. And I think Meghan will try the same eventually. She has said, okay, I'll give it a year. I'm not going to lose nothing in England if I come to England. And it's good for the children to have a change of scene. So don't take it as permanent.
Well,
You know,
I thought about this last night. You know, you rent a house for 6 months and see how it goes. There's a poll saying she's the least popular royal. There seems to be a poll out today saying that a majority of Brits don't want them to come back. The big issue that I want to talk to you about, however they make their money, is plastered all over most of the newspapers and certainly on the front page of the Daily Mail, Tom. Sussex's security could cost taxpayers £5 million a year. Now, this argument has been going on forever. In fact, I played a clip yesterday, just barely a few months ago, when he said, having lost the latest trial, or the latest argument with the Home Office, I don't believe the United Kingdom is safe to bring back my kids to. The issue I now have is what the hell has changed, and are they going to get security? Because the British taxpayer, if that's the case, are going to be footing the bill again for non-working royals who won't, bring anything to our country, and that's unacceptable.
Well, I think you're right, Jeremy, but I'm sure absolutely they won't get royal protection. The committee in charge of protection, RAVEC, decided about 4 weeks ago they weren't going to get it, and there's no reason why they should revise their opinion. You've got to remember with Harry, he likes blackmailing, he likes raising the tempo. In the trial against the Daily Mirror, he told a few porkies. I mean, he's not someone who one can actually, from the basis of his own book and what the Netflix series, rely on for always telling the unvarnished truth. So I think what's really happened is that he tried his best to blackmail and force the British government to give him the money, give him the protection, give him what's much more important for him is not the protection, but the status. Meghan likes being driven around in a convoy. She likes the blaring sirens and the motorbike outriders. That's what she wanted. He ain't got that, that's for sure. He'll have to carry on paying for his own guards, and I'm sure he'll reduce the cost of protection. He won't need 4 or 5 guards. He can do with one.
But I'm thinking, listen, you don't know this maybe, but the school in Berkshire that my kids went to, Lambrook, is where Charlotte, Louis, and George, who's about to leave, have been at, and there was a 1-year cross. I know that to and from school and front and back gates there was security all the time. Now we might argue that's the next King of England, but the truth of the matter is Grandad, I'm being completely straight, going to allow them to just be dropped off by somebody and then not be that? Because you can imagine, and that's where I'm a little bit confused, because he's been fighting for security for 4 years, which begs the question, has he been planning this return cynically for 4 years, Tom?
Well, he's been always planning to come back on his terms. Yeah. He's now coming back on our terms, so to speak. He won't get state security, which costs a minimum of £10,000 a day. There's no way that RAVEC is going to change its judgment now. Now, it might change if a threat is actually discovered against him and his children, and that has always been RAVEC's point of view. There is no threat to the life of Harry and Meghan in Britain that they have discerned. That is the issue. So I think it's the sort of thing which has been raised, but he's just going to have to settle down in the depths of the Cotswolds and get on with life. And we'll see how well he can worm his way in and re-establish some sort of lifestyle here.
It's interesting when you say worm his way in. Royal Summit at Balmoral, the Sun is reporting today. A lot of people criticising the King, I thought, unfairly online yesterday. I believe he was only told on Sunday. But William, for me, is the interesting one, Tom. I know this a little bit from what the old man did. Every Sunday he'd walk from Eton up the hill in Windsor to Windsor Castle, and completely his being is about the royal family, and he will. People make I think the wrong points about the breakdown between him and his brother's relationship. He knows that as his grandfather lay dying, they were talking to Oprah Winfrey. He knows the pain the late great Queen went through when Harry and Meghan, the spare book and all of the shenanigans. He knows what people near to them said about Catherine, and it caused great consternation a year or two ago about what was actually happening. There were all sorts of horrible rumours, and the poor woman was suffering from cancer. I firmly believe, and I don't care if people dislike this, that William is right to never be able to trust these two again, and I don't think he will. And I think, cynically, that one of the reasons they've come back is because they want to get their feet under the table before he becomes king, because I don't think he'll give them the time of day, Tom.
Well, I actually agree with you, and I think I'll take it even further. I think Harry's great fear is that when his father sadly will one day die, that William as king will strip the Sussexes of their titles. That would have been inconceivable not so long ago, and everyone thought it was impossible to do it to Andrew, but they found a way, as the British always do, to sign a piece of paper and say that Prince Andrew is suddenly Mr. Andrew, and the same could well happen to the Sussexes. And I'm sure he fears that William, to get rid of the problem of the Sussexes in Montecito, just makes them into Mr. and Mrs. Windsor after all.
And I think that's one of the reasons why they're back. I think, and people don't like this. Maybe the king is iller than any of us know, but I think he's going to try and worm his way back in, which, as you said, but what's really interesting is the comment overnight from the king. The king has made it particularly clear, front page of the Times, literally everywhere this morning. King puts William and the monarchy first and says that has to be his priority. And you know, for people who are royalists like you and me, it is about the royal family, but it's always been about Harry and Meghan. They've always made every argument about them. The lack of trust in them is because they, you know, people always think that they're going to cause trouble. Do you see it, just very quickly, do you see them coming back as yet another pain in the backside for the monarchy, or do you think that this will enhance Charles and William, or do you think it'll cause huge problems?
Oh, I think two things. I think at the moment it's causing huge problems. I think that Harry will try his hardest to remove the problems so that he can be reaccepted into the royal fold. That's what this is about. So he will do his best to neutralize the anger and somehow persuade them that he can be trusted again. And I don't believe he can do that because Meghan is the worst person in the world to ever compromise or apologize. So I think that they are a pain, they're a nuisance, they're a danger to the royal family, and we'll just see how well Harry can manage it. But he's not a great intelligent fellow who knows how to plan the day, that's for sure.
Final question, this came up half an hour ago from absolutely, actually two things I'm going to ask. This came from nowhere. Have you heard the, well, this is fact, it's not even rumour, Tom. Coming back when they do, rather than 6 months or a year ago, Harry and Meghan have achieved 6 full tax years of non-UK residency in the last few days. This temporary non-residence rule for capital gains tax will save them money on any future global earnings. Now, people will say to me, oh, Kyle, you're being cynical. It's exactly the sort of thing that they do, those two, isn't it?
Of course, but Americans, so to speak, they will have a couple of years grace. I mean, they'll be taxed in America, so they don't have double taxation. I mean, you're right, they won't pay tax in Britain immediately, but I don't think that's been the issue. I think the issue has been that a month ago, when they met the King and the Queen at Highgrove, they saw that the atmosphere was pretty neutral. There wasn't any recrimination. It was a good moment to actually try this out because Harry, I'm sure, is desperately bored and unhappy in California. As I say, Meghan, we know, has hit the buffers. She's got no future. They just said, look, let's give it a go. If it goes wrong, we can go home. And so I think they'll try to give it a go.
Final question. Some will say this is an outrageous conspiracy theory, but I put it all to you. Many, many rumours online that the truth is they've split. He's put his foot down, and she's only here for the kids, Tom Bauer.
Well, I never believed the divorce story. I think she needs him and he needs her, and I think they are a devoted couple of parents. So I just think that they, as always, she has very, very carefully plotted her salvation. She knows that she's bust in California. The alias don't like to talk to her anymore. She doesn't get to the right parties. At least in the Cotswolds, she'll be able to meet the mums and pretend that she really is a duchess. You know, here they'll recognise her title. In California, they scorn it.
Tom, it's always, mate, I know busy you are. It's always an absolute pleasure to get your take on this bombshell story. We appreciate your time. Columnist and author, the brilliant Tom Bauer, on Talk Breakfast, 7:28. We're live across the UK. Charlie Roddy's still here. You must be suffering sort of delusions of tiredness, aren't you? I mean, this is the longest you've ever worked, isn't it?
Well, but that was a brilliant interview and a great conversation with Tom, so fascinating.
What I think would be a good idea is if you hung around till 8 and got some tips on how to do a breakfast show.
Oh, well, yes.
So next is, right, OK, so we're going to go to a voice note, Kev, and then we'll go to the break and try and encourage some more calls. I'll leave it to you.
I see.
Go on then. You do it now.
What would you like me to do?
Kev's a voice note. Keep your calls coming. I'll see you after the break. Come on.
Here's Kev with a voice note for Talk Breakfast.
Morning, Charlie, and your sidekick, Jezza. Kev the trucker here, currently driving through beautiful Scotland on the way to Glasgow. Harry and Meghan. Now we can see why Harry was so insistent on getting protection paid for him every time he visited in England. He had the plan to come and live all the time, so if we awarded him armed protection while he visited, we couldn't say no to him being protected continuously while he lived here. When he was going to come back in the first place, he had it all planned. He knew exactly what he was doing. Scam, scam, scam.
I don't ever see either of those. I mean, that interview from 6 months ago, he said, and what the people in that country have done to me. You basically called the royal family racist. You basically slagged off this entire country, and you disappeared off, took $100 million and have grifted ever since. And now you're back here because being faintly associated with the royalty, however tarnished that might be, is going to finance you and your family's lifestyle. To me, that's hypocrisy at its worst.
Yeah, absolutely, but that's never really worried them in the past. I mean, this is just another business opportunity. Things haven't worked out in the States.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
And welcome back, 7:31. We're live across the UK. Talk Breakfast is on, the home of common sense, and where you, the alarm clock Brit, has your chance to give us your views on the day's news. As ever, if you want to call 0344 499 1000 for your voice notes and your calls, and your text to 87222. With me still is Charlie Rowley, moaning about the fact it's an hour and a half, but we are preparing him for his big debut, because tomorrow morning, ladies and gentlemen, live across the UK, Charlie Rowley on Breakfast. So, repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Oh, God. Welcome back. Talk Breakfast is on, home of common sense and of you, the alarm clock Brit. Go on then, repeat after me.
Repeat after me. Go on.
No, what I just said.
Oh, sorry. This is Home of Common Sense for alarm culprits. 0344 499 1000.
Right, that's my thing I've got a problem with all a lot of the presenters on this station.
Have I read the number wrong?
0344 499 1000 instead of 0344 499.
Why don't you
I hear one person go 0344 499 1000.
Well,
it's 0344 so let's do it. 0344 499 1000.
0344 499 1000.
Fantastic. Joanna in Salisbury says, when we were talking about building a detention centre in Scotland, she said, why Scotland? We've got 192,000 acres of Salisbury Plain and the military on hand. Why not a migrant detention centre there? Plus, there is a military airport nearby. Meghan and Harry's security, about 6p each. What? About 6... I'm happy for that, right? How about the billions migrants are costing, not to mention the millions we're paying to the French police for doing absolutely nothing? Or the billions that crappy net zero is costing. It's absolutely true. There are a lot of people going, listen, this Meghan and Harry story might be important to you, but I think that there are far more important things. Doug's great. He said, you know that pamphlet yesterday about how they should behave? I think we need a pamphlet written to the government on teaching them how to govern. Might be a good idea. It's quite a good point, isn't it? Steve, morning, Charlie, and your sidekick, Jezza. You love that, don't you?
No, I don't. No.
Burnham standing there in his T-shirt and a jacket. Would that be the same 80,000 T-shirt and £80 T-shirt and £500 jacket that he wore on election campaign? Very down with the people, says Steve.
Yeah, and you mentioned he looked like he was at a bin collection site or whatever, taking out bins. I mean, he could go to Birmingham for that, because I still hear that they still haven't had their bins collected.
Yes. Morning, Jez and Charlie. If Channel 4 were to knock out a remake of Shameless, I find that a slightly worrying phrase, knock one out in the morning. Do you know what I mean? I don't want that on the show. If Channel 4 were to knock out a remake of Shameless, I'm sure there would be a suitable role for Harry and Meghan. Have a good one, says Dave in Nottingham.
Well, thanks.
What?
Many thanks.
My dear Mr. Kyle, no mention of you. I'm a second-generation legal brown British person. The UK is no longer a safe place. My dad didn't need instructions on how to behave. He spoke better English than you. Living in Tenerife, attempting to speak Spanish, I was brought up to integrate. That's from Pubmini. I don't recognise the country I was born in. It makes me rage. I heard a story yesterday, and I can't verify it totally yet, but I'm going to get more, and I'll give you a little brief description, and I haven't even told Christian this. You know the Raise the Flags campaign for British flags? There was, I believe, and a Muslim gentleman stopped his van and basically said, I agree with you. You might find that very strange. I came to this country. I've embraced Britain. I've got 3 kids. I agree that we've lost our identity and that migration is out of control. And he was yesterday suspended from his job where he's worked for 10 years because that was against how they think he should be able to do. He was seen stopping in his van and saying, you know, I agree with you, and he was suspended from his job. What have we got to?
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I know.
I
know it's a true story. I'm going to try and get more on it, but that's appalling.
Yeah, totally. And look, you know, I mean, again, sort of, you know, without taking it back to Harry and Meghan, but, you know, the US, who haven't embraced them, obviously, which is why they're coming back, but have a very different view. I think if you're going to America, because America is based on a melting pot of people, right, that have immigrated from all over the world, but they have certain boundaries and structures which everybody can believe in and buy into, is what I'm trying to say, which is like the flag, for example. Everybody knows about the Stars and Stripes. Everybody loves the patriotism of what is the United States of America. You can't fail to know when you're in the US, because there's a flag on every corner, on every street, in every dish, which is brilliant. But here in the UK, you dare raise the flag and people get offended by it. And then this poor chap, if it is true,
we're going to do more research. I mean, it will be, and that sums up. Morning, Jess. Can you tell Charlie to stop preening and pretending he's researching for tomorrow's breakfast show? We all know he's just waiting for the subsidised sausage that he loves when the canteen opens, says Dad in Suffolk.
Well, I've been exposed.
Well, it won't be the first time. And the reason I'm keeping him is he's going to have to wait for half an hour for a sausage. 7:35. We're live across the UK. Let's say a very good morning. David Wooding, columnist for The Sun. David, welcome to breakfast. How are you, my friend?
Morning, Jeremy. Good to see you all, and Charlie.
Yeah, well, Charlie's here, keeping me awake.
He's doing a fine would you like to...
can we talk about migrants? The Harry and Meghan story just goes on and on. I didn't think... I mean, I had the Labour MP, I said this earlier, Sam Rushworth, on earlier in the week on Breakfast, who extraordinarily, but I thought it sort of blew a complete hole in what Labour has said for a long time, admitted that in his mind the problem that migrants, well, no, the reason that they come and why they should be allowed to stay, David, is they all speak English. Pointed out we spent 100 million on interpreters. But more than anything, he said it's because of our past colonisation, which for me laid bare what the Labour Party really thinks. Yesterday, that unbelievable document that said, if you do come here, don't rape women or abuse children, which tells anybody with a brain cell that they know exactly what these horrendous individuals represent and where they come from. Today, the Home Office is facing fresh scrutiny, David, over new advice asking asylum seekers to stay with friends and family because that'll give them more chance of getting regularly, well, getting settled status. I don't see a will in any government person, either with even with Rwanda and here now, to actually stand up and go, we've got to stop the boats. This is tearing this country apart, morally, financially, in every which way. What is your take? I mean, it's ludicrous, isn't it?
Well, look, this 8-page booklet, which is being handed out along with the How to Behave leaflet, seems to suggest that far from trying to impose a deterrent against these migrants, they're actually welcoming them on board, saying, hey, come and land here. We'll send you, you don't have to stay in a camp or a house of multiple occupation anymore. If you've got a friend or family you need to stay with, we'll pay the travel costs for you to go there. And better still, we'll continue to pay the 50 quid a week for your food and other essentials. Off you go. Now, are they sure that these migrants aren't just going to vanish into the black economy and get a cash-in-hand job? And there's another one lost. It's absolutely ludicrous, and the taxpayer is footing the bill for this all the time, Jeremy.
And I don't, Charlie's here as well, and we struggle to even begin to comprehend, David, how politicians don't read the room, feel the pulse of the United Kingdom. And we broadcast to, you know, hard-working alarm clock Brits. The Sun writes for working-class Brits, which is why, you know, speaking their language and understanding... I mean, we've got a phrase on this show called jams, just about managing the people maybe who are married, who both work, who look after their kids, pay all their bills, don't have much money left at the end of the week, never break the law, and they look and they say in their millions, David, what the hell? Why am I being treated so unfairly? And yet, if you put that to a left-wing politician, they look at you like you've landed from Mars. And I genuinely believe, and I'm not saying this from a Reform or a Restore or anybody else, I'm saying this from almost just doing this show. I think most politicians in this country are in for a real rude awakening, because I think they've forgotten or don't understand the depth of the anger.
Yes, and it's a matter of fairness, Jeremy. I mean, people don't mind opening our hearts to people who are genuinely fleeing persecution or war.
We've proved it.
A very good reputation for being a welcoming country for people in hard times, as we did with Ukraine, the Vietnamese boat people, for those of your listeners and viewers who can remember that. What we don't like is people who cheat the system. We don't mind people claiming asylum. It's people who are asylum cheats. And these people who are coming over on boats, they're basically undocumented young fighting age men who are playing the system and trying to get a new life over here. And we don't know their background. That's the problem. And that's why these leaflets have been handed out saying, in Britain, you're not... It's written in childish language, Jeremy. Have you noticed this? In Britain, you're not allowed to have sex with a woman unless she agrees to it. In this country, it's called rape. Rape is a criminal offence.
But yesterday, with respect, and Charlie wasn't here, I'd like to bring you both into... yesterday, on the day that... In that document, and I haven't got it with me today, I'd like the document if you've got it, it says if somebody has to consent, so if they're sleeping or passed out through alcohol, this is not a good idea. On the exact day, and I can't remember his name now, Christian, can you get me that document? There was an Italian, a 34-year-old, what was he called? I don't know his name, but he went before a court. He raped a woman who was asleep 9 years ago, had gone through the whole process of blaming her, had been found out by the police, went to court. And the judge said yesterday, you don't know this story, well, I think he's learnt his lesson. He can stay in the United Kingdom. And I'm just sat there going, should be in jail. He raped a woman. What are we at? You share my frustration, right?
Madness, complete madness. And I didn't know that story.
Yeah.
But, you know, shocking decision.
Here you are, Hendricks. Hendricks Equin, 34, took 9 years to admit he was to blame for the appalling attack on a woman when she was drunk, unconscious and vulnerable, an immigration tribunal heard. Because of his sexual entitlement, in his mind, he didn't accept guilt for the crime, placed it with her, but a judge yesterday said, no, listen, he's had to deal with it. He's learned his lesson. He can stay in the United Kingdom.
That's ridiculous. No, of course not. And I don't know what these judges are thinking, I have to say.
Oh, God, if I was Prime Minister, they would be the first ones that would be sacked.
Yeah.
Seriously.
But also, this. I mean, I was just looking at the document that you showed on the screen a second ago. I mean, I would love someone, it's a bit of a side point, but to put in an FOI just to ask, A, how much did that document cost for the graphics, the design? Because I imagine that cost the civil service quite a bit, because it's not exactly just a blank piece of white piece of paper with writing.
No, it's a detailed document.
It's very detailed and very graphic.
The other thing I'd ask Charlie is whether it's been printed in different languages. The one we saw was printed in English. Now, you go into a court case, we're paying millions of pounds a year on interpreters to help...
hold on, though, David. Not according to Sam Rushworth, Labour MP for Bishop Auckland. He said they all speak English on this show. He said that.
Well, there you go. It's very difficult to know, isn't it? I mean, there are millions of pounds, I haven't got the figures in front of me, being spent every year for people who go to the benefits office, for people who who are on trial in courts, who can't speak English. There are many, many thousands of people in this country who have arrived as migrants who do not speak English.
I completely agree. The other thing that's come out of the government this morning, both of you, David, they also say, the British government, that the French are becoming far more effective in stopping small boat crossings, despite migrants attacking the French gendarmes. And there was some shocking footage yesterday from Spain, as dozens of migrants would storm the beach and tourists fled in fear. The French, David, £500 million. I know Jeremy Kyle is laughed at by many people. Do you know what I'd do? I not only wouldn't let them come, I'd take away their fishing licences. I'm not giving them that money. Why are we giving £500 million to the French? They're taking the mickey out of us.
Well, it's only, 4 months since this deal was signed, Jeremy, and in that time, 55,000 migrants have landed on the shore. Now, the Home Secretary said this was a payments by results scheme. If it's a payments by results scheme, the French should be giving us money, not the other way around.
It's completely right, isn't he?
Absolutely. You know, and couple that with the sort of the one in, one out that is not a one in, one out.
Well, it's about two out for 55,000 in, isn't it? I mean, we laugh about it, but it's so... And do you know, I understand the people that say at the beginning of the show, why are you talking about Harry and Meghan and all that? Because our lives, it's basic common sense. If your public services are creaking, if your taxation's high, if your health service is straining, if your arm is depleted, and you are putting pressure on people on a daily basis with energy prices and a cost of living, if you then add an influx of, A, people who don't speak your language and can't be trusted and don't share your values, but then are seen to give them more than the hard-working British taxpayer, David, you can only expect Armageddon in the air. I don't understand what politicians think. I don't.
And the other thing, Jeremy, about this leaflet that was revealed yesterday, explaining how to behave in this country, it's a tacit admission by the Home Office that a lot of these people who are coming over on boats are unpleasant and a danger in some cases, because, you know, the people who were holding demonstrations outside migrant hotels saying our kids aren't safe on the playground and so forth were dismissed by the left as bigots, as scaremongers, and as even racists and worse, and told that they were horrible right-wing extremists. And in fact, so why are the government handing this out then? I mean, it's clear that there's a substantial number of people within this group, not all of them, I'm sure some of them are perfectly safe people, but there's a substantial number in there who do not know how to behave because they're from a country with different cultures than we have, cultures where it's okay to abuse women.
I'm going to play Samule. We're going to take us three off. This was yesterday. I talked about it. It's a Spanish migrant invasion. Here come the migrants, and the tourists absolutely flee. The boat goes up to the shore, they jump off, they start swimming into land, and tourists literally grab their stuff and run for their lives. I honestly, Charlie, well, both of you, I know you can both see it. I don't know where we go from here. You know, people will say, you know, I think of my old man. If my old man was alive today, and I said to him, you know, people are coming into this country, they're attacking women, they don't speak English, they get more than people who pay their stamp, he'd look at me and go, are you mad? But it always comes back to, both of you I know would perhaps have remembered this speech. We found something from 1986, which is a full 50, is that 50? 40 years ago, 83 I think. And Thatcher was asked a question, they asked the Commons, and she said, if the right honourable gentleman is suggesting that countries, other countries, people can come from other countries illegally and benefit from the British state and be allowed to stay here without being deported, he is talking about international chaos. And when you see pictures like that in France and Spain, are we heading for international chaos, David?
Well, it's clear that the migrants are trying to get in wherever they can. What was interesting there, I mean, that was a pretty posh resort. It was called Cala del Barco, which is near La Manga, where football players go for their holidays, like from Arsenal and Newcastle and teams like that. All the people who were enjoying the beach all fled. But what was more interesting, I thought, was that the police rounded them up very quickly. All of them were all rounded up. I'd like to go over there and find out what the Spanish police do with illegal migrants who land.
Do that, my friend. And listen, I've got to finish, but go and do that for the Sun. You're a top man. We love having you on, David, and thank you for sharing your thoughts. And Charlie, I can free you now. At 10 to 8, you can go and get your sausage. Just to repeat, Charlie Rowley, tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock on Talk Breakfast, and I will make an appearance.
You will. You will.
Hello, Pete. What?
You must. You
Good.
must. You must.
Hello, Pete.
I'll say it again. Where's me mug? This is Pete. You know this is Pete. Where's me mug? Where's me mug? I want a bleeding mug. I ain't a bleeding mug, but I'll tell you what, this bloody country here, we're bleeding. Well, actually, I am a bleeding mug, and I'm a mug among millions and millions of bloody mugs that are putting up with this government, yet again, another government trying to take the you know what out of us.
I've made a universal decision. Watch Christian put his head in his lap. He deserves a mug. We're sending him a mug. We've only got 17 left in the whole building. People are going to have to drink out of plastic cups. He's getting a mug. 10 to 8, back in 3.
And where's me mug?
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. So many people wanting to get on. 10 to 8, of course, we're talking migration. The government today facing fresh scrutiny over saying, I'll tell you how you can settle by saying you're staying with family and friends. Yesterday, they told illegal migrants, don't rape women or abuse children. We don't do that in this country, but you're still welcome to come in. The other big news story, the bombshell, Harry and Meghan moving back to the United Kingdom. So many breaking developments overnight. Let's say a very good morning to, it's not written on my list, yes, it is, former royal correspondent for The Sun, top man as well, Charlie Ray, good morning.
Good morning, Jeremy.
I'm really interested in everybody's take. I spoke to Tom Bower. In all your years of following the Royals and all of your knowledge, what is your take, my friend?
Well, this was a bit of a shock, as was Megxit when they left. Now we've got re-exit back again. Yes, it was. I knew on the morning of the announcement that there was something coming. There was a big story coming that came out at 10 o'clock at night. I didn't expect it to be that. I'm now being proved wrong, because I was always of the belief that Meghan would never set foot in this country again. Well, here she is. She's moving here, and you know, they're going to live supposedly a quiet life somewhere, maybe in the Cotswolds.
But we know that's not going to be the case. Interesting talking to Tom Bauer. He's not altogether sure, although the kids are enrolled, he's not altogether sure it's anything more than testing the water. Well, if you want to test public opinion, I mean, to me, call me cynical, Charlie, they've run out of options and possibly run out of money, because she said, and I quote, the royal family is racist and I'd never set foot in this country again. He said 3 months ago or 6 months ago, it isn't safe to come back. He's been fighting for, what, security for 4 years? What does it mean? I mean, front page of the Mail. That's the issue that my listeners want to know. Who the hell's going to pay to look after them, for God's sake?
Everything you say is absolutely right. And on the money, let's not forget that next week, Harry's going to be losing a couple of more £1 million because the result of that court case against Associated Newspapers, we'll be seeing how much money he and the other 6 claimants have got to pay, you know, in costs. And that's not going to, that's not going to be just, you know, £1 or £2. That's going to end up in millions. So they're now saying that we think, from what I'm reading this morning, that the place that they're going to go to is the Cotswolds. It's apparently some celebrity's home that they've rented. We don't know who it is. Secretly, Meghan has apparently scouted 2 schools in that area. How she did that, I haven't got a clue. And there's an awful lot of questions that remain, you know, unanswered. And you're absolutely right. The biggest question of all is the security. Who is paying for that? The British public will not stand for Metropolitan Police armed guards guarding 2 people who are not working members of the royal family. Look, nobody wants to see anything happen to anybody or any family or anything. They have been paying for private security in the States, which I assume was armed, because you can't
have armed security here unless it's royal security. That's the point.
Absolutely, you can't have it here. So whatever security method that they have here, you're absolutely right. That's the cost of the security itself, even privately. It's going to cost an arm and a leg. It's security for the whole place. You need a panic room. You need the technological equipment there, and the kids need to be taken to the school.
Well, I said so. William and Kate's kids' school overlapped where my kids were for a year. Security all day, back, front, side fences. I know it's the next king, in and out, all of that. You're not going to tell me she's going to go on the school run. Then we'll have all the press to follow it, man. The whole thing, and I perhaps am cynical, because if you want forgiveness, there should be contrition. I believed, and I was really vocal when they left, and I said, you're not in the goldfish bowl, that's your right. But then they've just basically used the media for their own ends. And when people say, oh, there'll be a pile-on, well, you put yourself out there with Spare and Oprah Winfrey and all that. The interesting one for me as well, buddy, is William. I mean, I make no secret of what I think of him and Kate. I think she's the future of the monarchy. He will not forget what they did to his grandfather, who was dying when Spare came out. He won't forget what they did to the late Queen, because he was steeped in what the monarchy went. And most of all, he won't forget how sources close to Harry and Meghan released all sorts of crap about his wife when she was silently and painfully going through cancer. It's a fact.
No, you're absolutely right. And, you know, in days gone by when families fall out, you know, there may be a period of time where they all get back together again. But they're doing it in a technological age. This is all still going to be on the internet. They're still going to be able to look at it. It's not a question of just Harry saying, look, I'm really sorry, I made a mistake. Yeah, Harry, you did make a mistake. And you've got to remember that one day William is going to be king. Now, where's Harry going to figure in all this? I don't think he's going to be very high up on the totem pole.
This is another reason why I think he's come back now. Listen, Charlie, in the end, you're going to think I'm the most cynical. Is his dad iller, or is he trying to get his grubby little feet under the desk? Because when Charles passes, very sad it will be, I have no doubt, for the reasons I just gave you, that William will strip him of his titles, and I think that terrifies them, because it's the last thing, whatever they say, they've got to hold on to, because I've never understood the kids. Archie and Lilibet, they deserve to be royals. Hold on a second, you said the institution was racist. Well, you can't have it both ways, love.
Yeah, no. You're absolutely right. And the things that they have said have been very, very hurtful, and you cannot clear them up with just, you know, a note that says, look, I'm sorry for everything. And, you know, William and Catherine are the future of the monarchy. There is no question about it. Now, is Harry, are Harry and Meghan going to go up to Sandringham at any stage to be with the rest of the family? I can bet your bottom dollar that if they do go up to either Sandringham or Balmoral, William and Catherine will not be there. They are not forgiving Harry and Meghan for what they have said and done in the short term. So, and I think it's
Do you
wrong.
worry? Sorry, we haven't got a lot of time. I've been meaning to ask this to everybody, but especially you, my friend. What you just said I agree with, but do you think that at any point that would turn public opinion who would accuse William and Kate of being petty? That's my concern, I'm being honest.
It is a big concern because the public opinion at the moment, I think one of the polls yesterday came out and said 84% don't want Harry and Meghan in this country. They've not only got to win the trust of the King again, and eventually William, if that's going to happen, they've got to win the trust of the British public as well. Otherwise, it's a no-go.
Great to have you on. Listen, this man was everything royal and great. Charlie, thank you, my friend. Great to have you on. Charlie Ray, former royal correspondent for The Sun. Sort of 8 o'clock. We're live across the UK. It's Harry and Meghan and the migrant crisis that won't go away. It's Talk Breakfast, the home of common sense. We want your views. 0344 499 1000. Text to 87222. The news at 8 is next on the home of common sense.
We have to stand up to the French. We have to be much tougher. We have to stop. I mean, it is the pull factor is huge, but even without the pull factor, there are going to be people who, you know, want to come across that bit of ocean and come to us. And I just think, once again, you know, we do a lot of talking about it, and Andy Burnham, every time he's interviewed, says, oh, yes, but there's fewer boats coming. There may be fewer boats coming, but they're actually bigger boats and they're holding just as many people. I think the money we're giving to France is unbelievably big for what they're doing for us.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
The entire city is being overwhelmed, and there are people who bear direct responsibility. Those responsible are the national government, led by Pedro Sanchez and his ministers, as well as Mr. Marlaska, and of course, the European institutions, which have completely failed in what's supposed to be the European Union's external border.
Which country in Europe wipes everybody else's backside but its own people? Here.
Well, Morocco, of course, is hosting the next World Cup. I mean, are we suggesting that...
Oh, don't start me on the World Cup. We'll get
the country that's hosting the next World Cup is too unsafe. It's so unsafe.
Oh, great point.
That people have to cross continents to come to Europe. And of course, and I have seen personally examples of this. People come from Morocco into Spain, across to the mainland, up France, through the south of France, up to the north of France, where they reach Calais and then eventually come to the UK.
It is a cause for concern, and we are making contact with the Spanish government, the Spanish authorities, to provide support, but also to understand the implications of that situation.
Some of you might remember a poster I put out 10 years ago called Breaking Point, where I showed vast numbers illegally breaking into the European Union. I made the point that if we vote for Brexit, we'll have the power to stop those people coming here. Sadly, the Tories failed us, Labour have failed us. Believe me, unless we get a reform government, those scenes you're seeing in Spain today, many of those young men lots of them dangerous, will be heading towards Calais and coming to our country too. It is time to wake up. This is a battle for the future of our civilization. I can't put it any more plainly than that.
When you look at what happened to Spain, they don't know what to do. And it's happening again today. They're coming in by the tens of thousands. They're just invading the country. And what that is weak law, bad management, but very liberal law. They passed a couple of laws, and people read. You know, people are smart. They read from other countries, and they swam that 3-mile sweat wall, however they got in, but nobody's seen anything like it. That will look good compared to what's going to happen to the United States. The biggest thing, the worst.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
It's very kind of you. I wouldn't call it a superior start to the day. I just call it as a start to the day. Just got 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in to Talk Breakfast. It's the home of common sense and the home of you, the alarm clock Brit. I love this. Theo says, I'm an alarm clock Brit HGV Talk driver, and as of today, I love this show so much, you're stopping me from treating the bloody fence. Well, just get on with your job and have a... I don't know. I don't understand all that technical crap. Anyway, welcome along. There's only 2 stories in town, my friends. You'll know it by now. Massive, massive, massive story. Harry and Meghan, they're coming back. Who's going to pay? Front page of the Mail. Who's going to pay for their security? The reason we have to talk about this is 5 million quid. We haven't got any money. Why are we paying for them, the couple of grifters? The American dream is over. Have they found God? Have they discovered contrition? I mean, I did have this morning from Chris, which is quite exciting. He said, I don't want to upset you, Jez, but I've just come out of Dover, where I've seen a boatload of migrants on the local beach. One of them seemed, from a distance, to have ginger hair, and the other looked like that actress off Suits. It was quite unusual, though, he said, that when they exited the rubber dinghy, they were picked up by a Range Rover with flashing lights on it. So that's rather good news. But on a serious note, lots of reaction about Harry and Meghan. You know, how's it going to work? What's it for? What's the motivation? You know, what does it do to Harry, to William and Kate, the King, etc., etc.? Jay's got an opinion. Morning, mate.
Hi, good morning, Jeremy. It's Jay from Stockport. I think with regards to H&M, that's not the brand, by the way, that's Harry and Meghan. Basically, it's winner-winner chicken dinner for the pair of them. He wants to come back because he needs to feel home again. He's missing home, he's homesick, and he wants to try and do something. The fact that if he can throw in a couple of hours visits with his father, then at least he's home. It's her currency. What she's trying to generate now is that if there's intrigue and people following her, the press, I hope they don't, but it sounds like the press might hound her, follow her, all the clicks, everything. That's what she needs and that's what she's craving.
I think that's absolutely spot on. Somebody just pointed out, do you think they'll come via Poland so he can have his barnet sorted out? A.k.a. Jason Cundy from TalkSport, who's suddenly got a whole new head of hair. TalkSport, the greatest radio station in the land. Seriously, for sport. Also, the other news story of the day, yesterday, that appalling document from the Home Office to young illegal migrant men. Don't rape women, don't abuse children. It's not a good look. Unbelievable. That laid bare for me entirely what this government thinks. The Home Office today facing fresh scrutiny over new advice which says to asylum seekers, not you shouldn't be here because you've broken the law. It says, try and go and stay with friends or family. That'll make it far easier for you to achieve what you want to achieve. But I'm completely aware that the UK government is ultimately deranged today because they've announced that the French, in their opinion, are becoming more effective at stopping small boat crossings, despite footage showing gendarmes being attacked, smoking cigarettes and ignoring them. It's an absolute farce. 85,000 migrants have come in this year. Nearly 4,000 since the Messiah of Manchester took power. Your thoughts on Harry and Meghan, or as I now call them, H&M? I'm not going to talk about that brand. And also, this story about migration, please. Get involved. 0344 499 1000. Terry and Slough. What the hell's the point of us having a Royal Navy if they can't stop a bunch of inflatable dinghies from invading our country? Couldn't agree more. Debbie, I work in a job centre. Interpreters travel halfway across the country we pay for their travel time for just a 20-minute appointment. If the claimant doesn't attend, they don't have to pay the cost. The British taxpayer does. Wow. Julian in Newport, are Harry and Meghan coming back for family fortunes? This is me having a bit of fun earlier, saying there are rumours that she is thinking about a return to acting, and we're giving a prize for the greatest or best suggestion this morning. People have said we should do a one-off Jeremy Kyle show. We've been told they should be on Shameless, they should be on Pointless, they should be on Escape to the Country, they should be on Love Thy Neighbour. But most of all, and the most popular one so far, is that she should be announced as the new host for the BBC hit series Traitors. Let's say a very good morning to the former press secretary to Her Majesty the Queen. We love the man. It's like talking to my dad, this is. Morning, Dickie Arbiter, how are you?
Morning, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. You always remind me of the old man. Bit of class. Look at you there, smart as carrots. I'm really, really interested in your take on this. I'm not even going to fire anything at you because there's so many different layers, Dickie. When you heard it now, having let it sink in, what's your thoughts?
I just wonder how permanent is permanent, because they're still keeping on their house at Montecito. Does this mean they're going to bolt back there? What work is he going to do here? He's certainly not going to be part of the working royals. That's over. That's finished. That was decided in 2020 at the Sandringham Summit. No half in, no half out. And it seems as though there's still going to be half, well, not half out, but whole out. He's got to look for something to do. He's got his Invictus Games, which could take some time between now and the Games next year. What she's going to do remains to be seen. Where they're going to live, there's suggestion the Cotswolds, poor neighbours. They've tried it before. They were rather interested in a pad in Chipping Norton in 2018. It's all very much up in the air, and I just wonder how permanent is permanent.
I absolutely take that point. The thing that, of course, centres people who are looking at their own lives, the cost of living and everything that's going on, is what's plastered all over the front of most papers. I'll give you the Mail today. Sussex's security could cost taxpayers $5 million a year. Now, you might know this, you might not. I've said it a couple of times already this morning. My kids went to the same school for the final year, two of them, that Kate and William sent their kids to, Lambrook. That's a common fact. The security was extraordinary. Now, we might say that's just the next kid, but there were men in the grounds, on the gates all day. We're talking about these two taking these kids on the school run. We read they're going to be day pupils. I can't imagine her allowing them to stay in a boarding school of a country she thinks is racist. They're not just going to be able to drive them. There's going to have to be a need for security. I'll tell you what I think is behind. I mean, there's all sorts of things behind it, but I think that they will try and infiltrate. Non-working royals, yes, but are we really going to expect her to be happy sitting at home while Royal Ascot's going on or Trooping the Colour? I think they're going to try and wheedle their way back in. I think this is a massive moment for the monarchy.
It's a very big ask. The problem is with both Harry and Meghan, they're masters at clickbait. You can get the King going out to a cancer centre, talking to patients there receiving treatment. You get William, for example, doing a food kitchen for the homeless, and Harry walking down the road doing his laces up that don't need doing up. And what's the picture on the front page? Harry doing his laces up. He's got to find something to do, and there's no way back at the moment. And I say at the moment because things can change, as you well know.
Well, so let's take that comment. You've got the King, who might or might not be worse off with the cancer that we know. But I'm really interested in the William and Kate thing. And you'll tell me, you like my old man used to tell me if I'm wrong, but for all the people who are right, oh, well, William won't forgive him, it's a brotherly fallout. To me, it's much deeper than that. This is a boy who is full to the brim with his belief that he puts in the British monarchy. He will not forget his grandfather lay dying when Spare was released. He will not, or Oprah Winfrey, he will not in any way forget the pain and anguish it caused our late Queen, because as we know, you and I and other people, every Sunday at Eton, he'd go up the road, up the hill in Windsor and have lunch with Granny, and he was steeped in it. He will never, I think, more than anything, be able to forgive how sources close to Harry and Meghan started terrible, terrible rumours about his wife, Catherine, who was suffering cancer. I think they are the future of the monarchy, and I think these two grifters, and this is, sorry, have come over here now under the guise of maybe the king's cancer, or we want to try again, because they want their feet under the bloody desk, because they're terrified that when William becomes king, he will do what most of this country want, which is strip those two of their titles. Dickie.
Well, you know, you're making several points there, and I think the biggest point that we need to make, that there's a lot went on in the Oprah interview in 21, the Netflix series in 22, and Spare in 23. You can't shove that under the carpet and pretend it never happened. Yeah. There was a lot of attack on the family. There was a lot of attack on William and Catherine. William will never forgive Harry in the way that he's attacked Catherine.
Yeah.
Because that was totally unwarranted. So they're not going to forgive. They're not going to roll over and turn the other cheek. That's not in his. That is not in his makeup. The king might turn the other cheek, but I think the king is strong enough with Camilla behind him not to bend the rules.
I think you're right, Dickie. I think she's really integral to this, actually, Camilla, because she, I think, from the outset, could probably see how they tend to try and play. They intend, I guess, to play Charles. Can I play you a couple of clips which I think are relevant to what we're talking about? She made a big thing, didn't she, Dickie, about how she believed the British monarchy was racist. She made this allegation that somebody said to her, how dark do you think the colour of your son's skin will be? He then said, I didn't say anything. We didn't say anything. Watch these two clips. This sums them up perfectly for me.
And also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
What? In the Oprah interview, you accuse members of your family of racism. You don't even...
No, we didn't.
Well,
the British press said that.
Right.
Did Meghan ever mention that they were racist?
She said there were troubling comments about
there was concern about his skin colour.
Right. Wouldn't you describe that as essentially racist?
I wouldn't, not having lived within that family.
Right.
For me, the difference is unconscious bias and racism. But if you are called out for unconscious bias, you need to make that right.
Dickie, you're a senior man. What do you make of this kid? I've listened to all the people go, oh, you know, he lost his mother. People won't like what I'm about to say. So did William, who's got his head down and has done his duty and has a beautiful wife and 3 kids. I find it difficult to believe anything that comes out of either of their mouths doesn't have an ulterior motive, my friend.
Well, you know, you played that Oprah clip in which Meghan claims that there were comments about Archie's skin colour. And if you played the full thing, she claims it happened when she was pregnant. Harry came into the interview a little while later and said it occurred before they were married. So they can't even get their script right. They're not reading off the same sheet. But I do take Tom Bradbury of ITV to task for not challenging Harry. He was caught unawares, but he should have really, excuse me, to your viewers, he should have had the balls to take Harry to task over that comment in Oprah, because it was there for everybody to see. Millions saw it. You cannot deny that they talked of racism.
And that's the point. And I said this, I think we talked about it at the time. When they decided to leave, I said, that's your choice. If you don't want to be in that goldfish bowl, if you consider this institution to be something you don't want to be associated with, then go to your life in Montecito. But 24 hours later, when we woke up to the news of the deal with Netflix and Spotify, you go, well, you're hypocrites, because you've said you're fleeing because you don't like the privacy and the country's crap and, you know, the monarchy is racist and all this sort of stuff. And now, of course, 6 years later, back you are. So one would love to be able to say to Meghan, do you still believe this institution that's the only way you're going to earn any money, love, by the way, we all know that, is still racist because nobody believes what you say anymore? That's what I can't get past, Dickie.
Well, the only way they've earned any money is because they are the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. If they had been Mr. and Mrs. Smith or Jones, with due apology to any Smiths or Jones that might be given, they wouldn't have got a look in with Netflix or Spotify or anybody else. But they've been trading on the titles. That's failed. Her love Meghan has gone down the tubes. Netflix haven't renewed a contract. They've got first option, but there's no money involved. So they've come back to the UK in the hope of making money. Well, let's be perfectly honest. The money that exists in the States does not exist in the United Kingdom. You get pittance here by comparison to millions in the US. So what they're actually going to do remains to be seen. What I hope they don't do is try and do to the royal family what they seem to do to everybody else, is to overshadow. I mentioned a moment ago, they're masters at clickbait. And if the King and Queen or any member of the royal family or William and Catherine are out on engagement, those are the people that should be getting the publicity, not Harry and Meghan. But they have a knack of weaving their way into the news story. And basically, they aren't a news story.
I couldn't agree more. And of course, I told this story as well. I remember being, because I lived on the Long Walk, and I remember being there when the four of them walked down after the Queen's death, because my Oliver was the fifth person to lay flowers. And it is still, I've got a great picture of that, right? Behind them, 100 yards behind them, behind a tree, and you can see the pictures there, you won't know, there was a Netflix crew. As they're walking out to look at flowers laid for their dead grandmother, an amazing woman who ran this country for 70 years and was an absolute amazing woman, right? I can't buy that the cynical feelings go away. I'll give you the final thing that we found out this morning, Dickie. I'd love you to get the camera back on Dickie, because I want to see his face on this one. This hasn't gone anywhere else. You know, when they come in 2 weeks, do you know how long that will be since they left the United Kingdom?
Yeah. They actually left in 2019.
So they'll have been gone 6 years. Have you heard the HMRC thing this morning? You'll love this. By coming back in 2 weeks' time, they will have achieved 6 full tax years of non-UK residency to the day, which means that temporary non-resident rules for capital gain tax will have been met, and they will save thousands of pounds on any new global earnings. And people can say to me, you're just... I literally think they'll probably have timed it for that. I just think they're like that. I don't buy anything is genuine. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, you know, that's HMRC. You know, you can't understand the way they operate. They get the little person and they roll over for the big person. The only upside is that they will continue paying tax in the United States, and that's not cheap.
No, it's true. Just to sum it up, my friend, new polling overnight shows the British public overwhelmingly opposed to the return, most due to taxpayer-funded police. And estimates about how much their security will cost. They talk about their criticism of Britain in its entirety. How does it end in your mind? Is it a success, or does it end in flames like most things with them?
I think it might well end in flames. What is quite interesting is that Andy Burnham made the point yesterday, Prime Minister, that the security issue was private. What did he mean by that? Because his minister, his Secretary of State at the Home Office, has said there is no security for Harry and Meghan. Harry has challenged the Home Office and he's lost in the High Court. Whether he's going to try again, whether the Home Office roll over remains to be seen. Governments do roll over from time to time. They say one thing and do something else. That remains to be seen. There'll be a lot of anger if they are given 24-hour security at the cost to the taxpayer when they are not working royals.
Couldn't agree more. It's lovely to have you on. Good plans for the day? Probably a bit of a rest now and then out for lunch and a snifter, eh?
Oh, I'm exhausted after talking to you. I have to go and put my head down somewhere.
Good man, enjoy. We love having you on. Thank you, Dickie. Dickie Arbiter, former press secretary to the Queen. Top man as well. 8:20. We're live across the UK. 2 big stories. Harry and Meghan, of course, and migration. Yesterday, can you get me that document, Christian, from yesterday, please? This is the one that says, you know, sex needs to be consensual. You can't rape a woman or abuse a child. Just if you are thinking of coming to England. You'd think from a civilised society you'd know that. That's really embarrassing. today... I can't speak. No, just do the voice, though. Lisa, good morning.
Morning, Jez. It's Lisa from Canterbury. The only reason they're coming back is they need to pay the Daily Mail when they're penniless. Thanks, bye.
Oh, you're back. Go to an ad break. It's fine. I'm still coughing, man.
You know what, I am fed up of commentators, politicians on the left denigrating British history. Yes, Britain had an empire, but I'm standing here in Victoria Gardens in Westminster looking directly at a statue or a monument to William Wilberforce, because what people don't talk about is the immense good that was done by the British Empire. We are the only country in the history of the world that actually set our Royal Navy to work to end slavery. We were the first country to do it, and we were the only country that devoted, you know, money and resource to the great effort of doing that.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back, 8:23. Sorry for the choco. 344 499 1000. Text to 87222 in a minute. Matt Vickers, he's back. Actually, let's just go to him straight away. I've had women sending messages going, "Where's Matt? Where's he been?" What's happened to the hair? It's all got a bit floppy at the front, hasn't it? What's happening? Oh, dear me.
I've been away. I've had a bit of a break. Look at the tap. Yes, look at the tap.
I missed you, me old son. I genuinely missed you. Like, are you all right?
I haven't seen you in weeks.
Well, I had to go.
Yeah, I'm surviving it up in the north. The pints are cheap. The people are great.
Oh,
yeah,
pints are cheap, people are great, and the air's much bloody fresher. Bloody hell, lovely. I went away with the kids, shattering, come back for a rest. So much to talk to you about, genuinely so much to talk to you about. I literally struggled yesterday. We're going to move. I'm not going to ask you about Harry and Meghan. I want to talk about migrants, because I literally, when this document came out yesterday, have you read this?
It's just astounding, isn't it?
Understanding behaviours and expectations in the UK. I'm just going to read to people the first line, because this sums it all up. You are in the United Kingdom because you are seeking asylum. We understand that coming to a new country can be very difficult, and that laws and customs might be different from your country. So we'd like to point out a few things. In the United Kingdom, to you educated men who are leaving a war-torn country, women work and earn their own money, study and go to school, travel freely, and choose who to marry or not marry. Physical violence, threats, controlling behaviour and emotional abuse is not acceptable. Consent is needed in every sexual situation. A little one here for you. If someone is asleep, drunk or unable to respond, they cannot consent. This was yesterday. There was a story of a guy called Hedrix Edwin or something, an Italian migrant. 9 years ago, he raped a woman while she was asleep. And he spent many years saying it was her fault, but eventually was prosecuted yesterday. And the judge said, I think he's learnt his lesson. Matty, Today, the Home Office is facing even more scrutiny over new advice saying the best way to get asylum is to find some friends or family and go and stay with them, and you've got a better chance to stay. This surely lays bare that this government is never, ever going to stop the boats.
It just, you know what, anybody at home paying their taxes to this government with an expectation that they're going to look after the British people will read this and weep. It would be funny if it wasn't so devastating, if we knew that these weren't real consequences and some of the vile acts that we've seen in our country by people who've broken into our country and arrived illegally. It is absolutely shambolic and devastating that this is anything like a solution to the problem. The one bit of light that we've had from the government is the fact they seem to have grown up and learned that what we were trying to achieve before, the idea that you detain and deport people, like the Rwanda scheme, might be back in play. Shabana might have realised that everything else is just window dressing. Until you send that message to people, if you come to this country illegally, you break into this country, you will not be allowed to stay.
Somebody made a really good point this morning, Matt. If you come here illegally, the minute you set foot on our land, you've broken a law. You should be arrested immediately. Did you see Andy Burnham? I have to keep it to this a minute, this document. When asked about this is what Burnham said yesterday.
As a government, we have a very clear principle. If you break UK law, you will be removed from the country. And we have seen that in relation to immigration, where removals are significantly up. I'm currently working to ensure that foreign national offenders who can be removed from the prison system are removed from that system. So it follows that if we're taking this approach, people are made it's made explicitly clear what the UK law is and what the societal norms of the UK are, and that's why this approach is being taken.
Matt, he says, if you break the law, my government will remove you. But every single illegal migrant that puts their first foot on the beach wherever they land has broken the law, so didn't he round them up, put them in a detention centre and send them back instead of pretending to be a part-time dustman somewhere north of Watford Gap?
Well, the lie is bigger than that, actually, because you are not removed from this country automatically if you commit a crime. You're removed from this country, or you're supposed to be removed from this country, if you commit a crime and are sentenced to more than 12 months. We had a vote in the House of Commons where the Conservative Party said, if you come to this country and you commit a crime, you should be removed. We also had legislation went forwards to say that if you broke into the country, you have committed a crime. You should be detained, you should be deported, you should be removed, no ifs, no buts. That is how people will not get in boats, pay people smugglers to get in, if they know they won't be able to stay. That is the only way to fix this. Have you seen these stats that have come out about the number of French interventions today? Utterly nuts. They've had £500 million out of us. The number of people this year to August versus the year before that they have prevented from coming by their own measures has halved. More than 7,000 Eritreans have come into the country. How many do you think have been removed? Two. It's tear-inducing. It's heartbreaking. You look at the cost. I've been out in the constituency now. I'm out there knocking on doors of people, young people who can't get on the housing ladder, young people struggling to get a job because the government has absolutely trashed the economy and anybody who dares to create jobs and economic growth. You go out there, you speak to elderly people struggling to access the healthcare they want because of the pressure on our public services. Yep. You talk to the people who are struggling because they're at their end of their lives. They're worried about whether they can get the social care that they need. Where is all this money going? It's all going on benefits. It's going on supporting people who've broken into this country. They have no right to be here. And it's infuriating when you see the real cost to people out there of this money being thrown away on the wrong causes.
And that's why we're mates, because I can hear the passion. You're up there in your constituency. I'm going to ask you something that I asked everybody this morning, right? Probably asked you before. If you are an MP, I presume part of the attraction is that you want to serve the people of your constituency. You want to give something back. If you elect an MP, I suspect that part of the attraction is you believe that that person will tell you how it is and be honest with you and represent your interests in London at the seat of power, Westminster. Do your colleagues, not just in the Tory party and across the political domain, do you think that the majority of them understand the depth the depth of anger about this issue? Do you think that the majority of them have the will, the cojones, the balls, the desire, whatever it is, or the conviction to actually do something about it? Because people are saying things like national crisis now. People are saying things, Matty, like, where's this going to end? We saw footage from Spain. A boat arrives, the police dissipate, tourists run for their lives, and they just swarm onto the beach. We saw those pictures. There you have it there. Those pictures, Morocco, Kuwait, I can't say that word. I mean, this is becoming... you know, we can talk from an English point of view, but certainly across the world, this is becoming a really, really dangerous situation. I've got people saying to me, this country's never going to get back to where it is. You understand, but do you think the majority of your colleagues do? Because don't get that impression.
I mean, it's an emergency. We have a crisis on our borders. We have thousands of people coming into this country illegally, and we're unable to stop them. We are failing to stop them. The last government buggered it up, didn't get it right, didn't make the progress that needed to be made. But they had the right idea in bringing forward legislation to detain and deport. It's the only way to do it. People need to know they're not going to be able to get a stay. I think you're right about MPs. I think most MPs, I think the very vast majority of people who put themselves up for public office do it for the right reason. I think a lot of them get lost along the way. I think a lot of them don't knock on enough doors, don't go and speak to enough of the people they represent. They can disappear off to London. But my neighbour doesn't live in the constituency he represents. He's completely switched off to what people actually are talking about. And they end up with some sort of bizarre Westminster bubble thing that means they don't know what real people are concerned about. We've got Andy Burnham in there promising this, that and the other, throwing money at things. But actually, he should be losing sleep at night about the crisis on our board. He should be losing sleep at night about the damage being done to our economy, about the fact that 500 million businesses have gone to the wall, about nearly 1 million young people are out of education, employment training. That is a disaster. That should be the thing that bothers him. That should be the reason he can't sleep at night, because you'd be trying to work out solutions to those problems that are affecting real people.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, you brought up the French. Yesterday, the government said they're becoming more effective. I love this as well. Former Labour Minister Mike Tapp says we need mandatory testing for asylum seekers on UK laws and customs. Stop pandering. I suspect that most people with a brain cell will go, do you know, if you need to come to this country, we've proven we'll do it. We've done it with Ukraine. But if you're going to come here, I mean, I've got to say this to you. I wanted you, and this isn't going to get you into any trouble, because you've always accused me of getting into trouble. Do you know somebody called Sam Rushworth?
Oh, yeah. He's somewhere around here. He's Bishop Auckland or somewhere.
Right,
he's nearby.
Well, we had a bit of a moment on Tuesday because we were talking, and, you know, I try and get everybody on, and I want yours, which is the Tory Deputy Party Chairman, I want your response to this. To me, he let the cat out the bag. He said, and I quote, the reason that all the migrants come is that they all speak English, forgetting we spend £100 million a year on interpreters. But then he dropped the ball and it went everywhere, and he said, we have to because of our colonisation in the past. Matt Vickers, what's your response to that?
You know what? I don't have a response. I don't have words for that. The reality, they all speak English. They're all women and children. We heard from Darren Jones, you know, not disproportionate. They're all men, fighting age men, largely. Is it something like 70% of all those people arriving illegally are male? I mean, the other thing about this document, actually, is that there's been no evidence of it produced in any language other than English. So how many of these people who don't speak English are meant to read this to learn the social norms and values of a country is beyond me. The document.
Because we had a text from somebody earlier who works in a job centre that says that they can call an interpreter from across the country, and the government, the taxpayer, has to pay, OK, for that. And even if the migrant doesn't turn up, the person who's claiming benefit because, you know, they don't know where they're going or whatever, the interpreter still gets paid. Have you got that clip for me? I've got to play this to you, Matty, because this is us out of the water and just watching. Have a watch. This is out the water. This is that Bishop Auckland bloke. Have a watch, mate.
I think what we do need to look at is what are the pull factors. And I think there's two big pull factors. One is that they speak the English language, you know, because we spent a couple of centuries going around the world colonising it and teaching everyone our language.
There's the reason that the Labour Party will forever allow people to come to this country.
They've got a network of people that speak our language. And the other is that there is a black economy, and we need to deal with the black economy.
Matt Vickers, help me out.
Well, I mean, it's attitudes like that that tell you why, instead of deporting people who are breaking into this country, we're dishing out pamphlets telling them to keep their trousers on. I mean, unbelievable, absolutely astounding. But do you know what? Another point there, Jeremy, you're talking about interpreters. I go out in my constituency, and one of the biggest frustrations I've heard recently was about people who are deaf and are unable to access people who can do sign language at public services. When they go to the council office to talk about their council tax, they cannot get access to somebody who can translate for them so that they can be heard in sign language. Yet at the same time, huge volumes of money are being thrown at interpreters for people who are entering the country illegally. It is heartbreaking when you see the cases of real people who cannot get accesses to the service and the support they need when they are disabled, whilst priorities are going in completely the wrong direction.
And I think that word's really important to sum it up. I think it is about priorities, and I think it's also about how people... We talk about this when you're on the show, when you're not on holiday for 3 months. We talk about, you know, how hard-working Brits in their millions are going, I'm doing everything right here. And I genuinely, when I read documents like that, when I see the money we're giving the French, when I see the excuses we seem to make for almost everybody, to the detriment of people who try and live their lives correctly. We've missed you enormously. When are you coming back? When are you coming down to reality away from up north on bus?
I'll be back. I think I've got another week of door knocking and surgeries and being up here, and then I'm coming back down to that horrible, expensive, dusty, dark city. You know, yeah. I'll be back a week.
I bet you won't come back on the bank holiday Monday, will you?
That debate is ongoing. That debate is the debate about me coming back, actually, to do some policing activities on Saturday or Sunday.
Well, listen, we want. If you don't know, well, you will know. Matty does the papers one day a week, and we love having you on, mate. We've missed you. I mean, honestly, people have been devastated at your absence.
Honestly. I'm sure they have. I look forward to them dropping into me DMs.
Oh my, don't. How is that going, by the way? Any luck?
Oh, we're working on it. Actually, do you know what, Jesse? You keep talking about when people come back and see my flag and how awkward that must be. I've got a new corner in my house, so the flag is going in the shed. I'll be able to talk to you from the shed the next time I'm on.
I don't want to think about you alone in your shed with a flag, mate. Thank you very much indeed. It's great to have you on. Matt Vickers, Tory Deputy Party Chairman, always just says it as it is. Just love the guy, really do. Margaret, Jez, sorry, I did say no more text. U-turn from me, mug winner. She needs to get a mug. Oh, she did say, I think maybe the King will pay for the grifter's security and we might never know about it. That's worrying. Mark Thompson, Jeremy, what if we secretly paid the people smugglers £1 or £2 million per week to stop the boats leaving, only for each week that no boats leave France? Massive saving on what we pay them and, of course, the migrants. That's an interesting one. Susan God's Country, Northumberland, good morning. She says, so by adding daily to the illegals coming to this country, we're now an island of grifters. Brilliant. H&M can be their very own royal family. King and Queen of the grifters. Jeremy, Harry and Meghan, the King will forgive them. After all, he wants to see his grandkids, but the British public of a certain age will not. But I reckon people below the age of 30 will. Sad as it is, but they in general are now the new rebellious teenagers. Morning to John in Kent. Harry and Meghan wrote off the British people and insulted us from the moment I took absolutely no interest in him or his bloody wife. I'm sure the majority of normal people in this country feel exactly the same, so I'm absolutely sick to death about this ridiculous media coverage about them. David in Essex, it's quite simple. Ginge is bored and wants to come home. Meghan Markle does not, but knows when she gets here she can instigate the separation because of media. She doesn't want to be with the Ginge. She'll go back to Montecito and live in the big house and the divorce will be settled. There's a lot of cynicism going on this morning. Jez, I reckon Harry's just homesick and Meghan's attempts at becoming a chef have failed in the US, so the BBC have signed them up for a new documentary called Lonely Fools and Sauces. Brilliant. Hev, good morning.
Yeah, these migrants, I mean, it's just getting beyond a joke now, isn't it? It's way beyond a joke now. If we use an uninhabited island off Scotland or whatever, it's going to cost an absolute fortune. I don't know why, instead of putting them in army barracks, well, still put them in army barracks, but just surround the place razor wire. I mean, you know, why the hell these people, which is what gets me more than anything, the money is disgraceful that's been spent on these people, you know, transporting them, feeding them, housing them, giving them houses. And you know, doctors and dentists and everything, all of that is money going into these people. But why on earth from the very beginning, and this comes down to the Conservatives, have they ever been allowed to walk our streets?
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Christian thinks I'm mad. He just said to me, honestly, this is genuinely my life. He just said to me, he said, what are you doing this week? And I said, well, I'm taking the youngest kids down to Lyme Regis, which is where we spent a lot of time when we were kids, because my mother's sort of grey part-time ago, but also my dad got her a bench, and he spent a bit of money. He was very proud. He never got to see it, unfortunately. I'm just really pleased that he's dead, because when I went down there, it was outside the ladies' toilets, next to a bin that sanitary products get put in, so that wouldn't have gone down too well if I was him. Although Christian did just say, knowing how much of a dirty old bugger my father was, he'd probably been delighted that it was in the position it was. I've no idea. 0344 499 1000, text to 87222. JK and Charlie, that was a few hours ago. Shabana, what planet are you on? Take the blinkers off. The French being effective. 3,500 migrants, right? In 4 weeks? I don't think so. Jenny's in Bicester. Charlie. Jezza, poor old Andy Pandy, stood in the rubble of his premiership before he got to Parliament. The summer rainbow tour is trashed, his hair is greying and his face is lined. He's aged 10 years and 4 weeks. Buses won't move the dial, neither will the cut on VAT. Jeremy, no way remote Scottish Islands get stuffed. I work 24/7. I visited Scotland, as many do other remote places, to hike and escape for a while. Leave sacred places of beauty alone. I don't want any, Helen, says migrants there. Tash is in Bexhill. Good morning, everybody. Horrible Harry and Meghan returning to the Cotswolds with the Royal Beckhams already on site. That's not a clash. That's a greenhouse glass shattering failure waiting to happen. Brilliant. Morning, Jez. Merv here again. Oh, I'm on fire today. If these two are going to get £5 million worth of security and they have businesses, etc., they should pay tax on that as it's a benefit. If you or I get a company car, we pay tax on it as a benefit. So 40% of 5 million, I want 2 million quid out of them. I have no time for many of the royals these days, not even William. The Queen, and I mean the Queen, was the real one. She must be turning in her grave. Listen, there are people... Oh, Susan says, I agree that William should never trust those couple of grifters. I gave a sibling a second chance once and she totally betrayed you. Oh, this, though, here's balance. The more you and the media attack, the more I side with the Sussexes. Interesting. Let's get a man who knows so much about royal shenanigans. He's written a great book entitled The Rise and Fall of the House of York. It's always an absolute pleasure to have him on. Good morning, Andrew Lowney. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Good morning.
Where do we go? More and more every single day. And people are saying to me, come on, there's major problems in the world, but this is a story that has just crossed every barrier. Loads to talk about today. Overnight, front page of The Sun, the royal holiday in Balmoral has become a summit about Harry, but the biggest discussion, of course, Andrew, is this story about who is going to pay for their security. let me start slightly differently with you. Today, the King made it clear that Harry is not his priority. William and the future monarchy is. That won't have gone down too well with the grifters from California, will it?
No, and I think the problem is both the King and William are kind of damned if they do and damned if they don't. I mean, the King is clearly very keen to get a reconciliation, to end his reign with a less fractured family. And he's been basically working on this with Harry for some time.
Do you think so?
No, absolutely. And this is the reason Clive Alderson went. But he's now trying to kind of please both sons. But yeah, I mean, I think William, everyone is now encouraging William to make some sort of rapprochement for the sake of the monarchy. But I think Harry is the one who has to apologise for the things he said. And I think it's very important that, he is responsible, his father is responsible for his security. I don't think we can expect taxpayers to pay for it.
There's so much, and I try and get it into order. You're right. There are boundaries. If you break boundaries, there are consequences. Contrition needs to come from Harry. And I'll tell you why I say that with passion. Because William's, I think his DNA is the royal family and it's in its, continuance, for want of a better phrase. He will know absolutely what those two did as the Duke of Edinburgh lay dying in hospital. He will know absolutely what they did to his sacred grandmother when she was dying in Balmoral. And most of all, my friend, he knows that people close to those two, sources, Omid Scobie, all those terrible people, said and started some terrible rumours about his beloved wife when she was doing nothing but staying at home suffering from cancer. I was on television and a particular reporter that I know started to talk about, oh, there must be something here, somebody's had an affair, somebody's doing this, people... No, the woman was suffering from cancer. And I have to tell you, people will be saying to William he should make the first move. Not at all. He's not due that. I understand his anger, don't you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, I feel very sorry for him and indeed other members of the royal family, because this is a distraction from the good work that they do. I imagine Anne and Edward are seething because, of course, the news headlines will constantly now be on the couple from California.
And that's my other thing that I wondered, in your mind, my friend, how it's going to pan out, because they say the King has been quite vocal overnight to say, look, they're not going to be working royals, they're not coming back to that role, they're going to go and stay wherever. Papers say Cotswolds, Andrew, by the way. But can you imagine her, whose desperate oxygen is based entirely on media coverage and clickbait, sitting happily there? The minute they take the kids to school, the minute she walks out the front door, there'll be all the press because that's what she wants. Do you not see them as trying to... Are you honestly telling me that she won't try and go to Royal Ascot or Trooping of the Colour? I'm not talking about being a working role, but surely for them to have anything that they can sell about still being tied in, they'll be going to the major things, won't they?
Yes, of course. They'll be exploiting every opportunity that presents itself. And I think the problem will be on those occasions which are seen as family occasions, for example, Christmas at Sandringham, what happens there? Yeah. Do they get invited? I mean, is the King keen for all the grandchildren to mix together? And if Harry isn't invited, then that'll be seen as some sort of slur. So I think it's one of these no-win situations for the rest of the royals, whereas it's not every win for Harry, even though clearly he's very unpopular still. So I just don't know how this can play out in a way which doesn't cause further ructions rather than actually heal them.
Well, you talk about that as well, and one talks about the monarchy in its entirety. There was a poll this morning saying that the British public overwhelmingly opposed their return, most due to the taxpayer police-funded protection, which is $5 million, they reckon, a year. That's the thing. For somebody like Meghan Markle, Andrew, who is... as I said, whose oxygen is publicity and who loves to be loved and all those things, she's not really reading the room, mate, is she? Because I mean, there'll be a few diehard people, but the majority of these people in this country haven't forgotten. She called the monarchy racist. She called most of what we are and represent as outdated and wrong. I remember the Spare Book tour. I remember the Oprah Winfrey interview. People have long memories, don't they?
Yes, and it'll be interesting, to see if there's heckling when they do go out. But, you know, they're pretty shameless. I mean, they clearly have made a failure of their move to America, and they're trying to reinvent themselves here. But I think they may have misread the public, and they may, you know, be suffering from some very harsh publicity. So I just, you know, this is something the royal family didn't really need at this point. It was capitalizing. And of course, it's taking away from other issues, such as Andrew. I mean, there's a good chance that Andrew, there may be new information coming to light shortly about Andrew's misdemeanors. There are more files like to be unsealed in the States. And yet that's going to be off the news headlines with focus on, frankly, for this very trivial sort of stuff.
It's true, Dickie Arbiter said earlier, the concern, and I'll ask you about Duke of York, well, the ex-Duke of York in a tick. He said the concern for the royal family as a unit is that because of these two and because of how they live their lives, you could have William and Kate opening a children's hospital and his analogy wasn't 5 miles down the road, you know, Harry could just be walking the dog or going for a bicycle ride and he'll be on the front cover because, of course, that's news. And that's the problem, isn't it? And you're right, that they've had enough trouble and Andrew Mountbatten Windsor continues to be. What did you say there? You gave me a little in there. What's coming out? What have you heard?
Well, there are a lot of things happening. I mean, there's a case in the States by a woman called Katie Fang, who's a journalist and lawyer, who's actually now forcing Blanche Todd to release all the files under the Transparency Act. There is also now a case for the libel action between Ghislaine Maxwell and Virginia Gifford for the material there to be released, which a lot of it was discounted before. And so I think there are quite a lot of new revelations likely to come out in the next few weeks about Andrew, and indeed Sarah Ferguson and her role behind the scenes to kind of try and discredit Virginia Gifford. So,
where is she, by the way? Have we any idea where Sarah Ferguson is? There was that great debate that she was, you know, hiding and going from friend to friend. What do you know about her whereabouts?
Well, I think she's gone to Portugal, and I think she's been with her daughter Eugenie. And that's frankly where Harry should have gone. He could easily have educated his children in Portugal and broken away from the States and not caused so many problems. I mean, this is a rerun of what happened with the Duke of Windsor in the 1940s. He was sent into exile. The attempt was made to contain him. And he then kind of came back sniffing the air, thinking there may be some opportunities for him. And that's clearly what Harry's here for. He's keen to get re-established before William comes to the throne.
But he's obviously, I mean, listen, I don't want to be cynical. The first thing I thought when I read it was, your dad's a lot iller and you're coming here to get your feet under the table because you know the minute that your brother becomes king, he will strip you of your titles because he can't and won't forgive you for what you did to the institution. And I thought that was quite relevant. But in all of it, it's not a great time for the monarchy. And you talk about Andrew and you talk about Fergie and you quite rightly talk about the daughter who's got the place in Portugal because that's where Harry and Meghan have a place as well. It doesn't go away, this, does it? And if I was the king, I mean, you said it or somebody said it earlier, damned if you do and damned if you don't. If you ostracise your son, you're a horrible, nasty father who doesn't care. And if you welcome them back, there will be massive concern, Andrew, as there is with Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, that whatever is said comes out, whatever happens gets repeated, gets briefed, and all of that noise does the monarchy in its entirety no good at all.
Yes, no, I mean, I think that the king has, and indeed William, will have to walk a very narrow tightrope between a kind of, as to say, the policy has always been to contain Harry, and he's kind of popped out of his box now. And is causing mischief, and it's very difficult to know how to deal with him. I mean, what we have to remember is that Harry and Meghan are their own worst enemies, and so there'll be something that will lead to them sort of self-destructing at some point. So all they need to do, the royal family, is keep quiet, keep calm, and keep going. I think they will kind of, the Markles will kind of out themselves.
Now, listen, these revelations about Andrew, your book entitled The Rise and Fall of the House of York, by the way, peeps, go and buy it. When they start, will you come on and tell us all about them, the brilliant Andrew Lowney?
Yes, of course, delighted to.
Brilliant. Lovely to have you on the show, my friend. Thank you, Andrew Lowney. Don't get that book, by the way, peeps. I saw it at the airport the other day, entitled The Rise and Fall of the House of York 529. Charlie Rode is he still here? Just get him in here. Honestly, I've never... He's like a bat... get him in here. Can you just come in here a minute? Is he honestly? How long does it take him to have a sausage? I mean, honestly, honestly, Mark, we've been here 3 hours. Are you still? He hasn't bought me a sausage. Come back in. Yes, we're making you work. Come in after the news at 9. 0344. Are you still here?
I'm going.
No, you're not. You're back on air after 9.
We were planning.
Sit down. Have you had your sausage yet?
No, I'm starving.
What have you been doing, man?
We've been planning tomorrow.
Oh no!
It takes a long time.
Put the microphone on. We'll give you a big. Put your microphone on. We'll give you a big build-up. Because, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Tomorrow, radio. Let's do the breaking news thing. Let's have a sign. Let's make it important. We've got breaking news on Talk tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. when you turn on the radio. Who usually does it? Morning team. Mark will be there. 6'8", big arms, lovely, fantastic. Orange watch, red tie, blue shirt, green socks, purple trousers, yellow hair. Sorry?
Mary's going to be listening.
Mary?
Yeah, she's on the line.
Who's Mary?
She's on the line.
Is that Hairy Mary from the dairy in Castle Carey? I knew her once. Oh, liked it. Needed a shave. But tomorrow, what's your name again? Charlie Rowley will be on breakfast, ladies and gentlemen. It's a weekend breakfast show with Charlie Rowley, and we're looking forward to it. Are you seriously going, or do you want to do a bit of practice?
No, I'll leave.
Can you get us a sausage?
Of course.
Lovely.
And anything else?
No, just a sausage, thank you. Right, Mary, good morning.
Good morning, Jeremy. It's Mary from Cyprus.
Yes. How are you, Mary? You've only got a minute. Are you listening to Charlie tomorrow at 6 o'clock?
Of course I am.
Good. That'll be one then. What can we do?
It'll be 8 o'clock our time, but anyway.
Right.
While I'm calling you, with Harry and his wife coming back to England with the children.
Yes.
Now, I believe the children have got titles of prince and princess.
Yes.
Is their mother going to insist at school that they keep their titles, particularly if it's a state school? I can't believe they're going to go to a state school, but there you go. Do you think she'll insist that they're referred to as prince and princess?
Well, I can only say this as I head towards the news. I am astonished that, well, I'm not. I think it sums up the woman perfectly. She described the British monarchy as racist to its core, walked off to America and wanted nothing to do with it, and then argued that her two children, her two precious children, should indeed have titles from the institution she called racist, which Mary in Cyprus, I think, sums her up. Dave, good morning.
Morning, Des. Great show. This pamphlet that we've got out now for the illegal immigrants coming into the country, how do we measure success for that pamphlet? Do we now measure it by saying, oh, only 3 less women got raped by illegal immigrants and only 3 less children got groomed by grooming gangs, but forget about the other couple of hundred that did happen to? But we got success because we got 3 less. I'm confused on how we measure that whole concept. Great show as always, mate.
Harry and Meghan had no problem sitting across from Oprah Winfrey and unleashing
on this family. When the Queen was in the final days, weeks, and months of her life, guess who was filming their Netflix docuseries where they accused an entire country of racism? Harry and Meghan, unbothered by the Queen's illness, unbothered by the fact that she was an elderly woman who, you know, should have been enjoying her twilight years, but was fearing what was to come from Montecito.
Secretary has brought forward a very rigorous plan in relation to this, and let's remember, of course, the numbers can fluctuate, but overall boat crossings are down quite significantly year on year, so that does suggest that the plan is working.
We've just witnessed drone footage of the French authorities handing out life jackets to illegal immigrants and then waving them goodbye as they head on their way towards the UK. So the French are actively helping and facilitating illegal immigration. In addition to that, the French forces did nothing to stop that huge migrant dinghy. In fact, the dinghy came out, then it went back to the beach to pick up even more illegal immigrants and then departed for a second time. During all of that, the French did nothing, and they even handed out life jackets and waved goodbye as these illegal immigrants head towards the UK. I think that's terrible. I mean that anyone who did cross the channel and arrive in Dover could be immediately deported within around about a week.
Give that a second, he's just dragging a line by the look of it.
Is that a warning shot towards us? I don't know.
Well, I was trying to work
Okay. The French officers could clearly see we were conducting an interview on the back of the fishing boat. They sailed extremely close to us and started firing gunshots, 11 live rounds. We could see the bullets hitting the water behind our boat. They weren't firing before their approach. They weren't firing afterwards. There was no notification of any kind of training exercise. So it did seem to me to be an effort to intimidate us.
The thing that I find, and I should say alarm clock Brits find so frustrating, Chris, and this is why I wanted you on this morning. Yesterday, finally, the unelected Messiah of Manchester stood up and said, to consummate fury from most of us, that Labour's plan to stop dinghy migrants is working. This, Chris, despite the fact that 1,000 illegal migrants have still come into this country in the last 9 days since he became Prime Minister.
Je suis un député dans le Parlement du Royaume-Uni. Why have you allowed the migrants into the water? Why haven't you stopped them?
Our order is to let them go like that.
Your order is to let them go?
We just have to say to them, don't do that, it's dangerous.
So your orders are not to intervene?
We have to protect them.
Well, there's also protecting the border as well.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back or welcome along, and if it's welcome along, where the hell have you been? Just gone 9 o'clock on Talk, the home of common sense and the home of you, my friends, the alarm clock Brit. As we head towards the weekend, Alex Phillips, is she here at 10 o'clock? One can hope. She's here. David Bull, in for the voice of the housewife, Ian Collins. He's on holiday for a week. Doesn't sound like it's too much of a holiday for the kids. Sounds like he's suffering from me. Anyway, David Bull is here. He'll look as smart as carrots. And 4 o'clock this afternoon, Trevor O'Sullivan on Drive Time. I said yesterday, by mistake, Trevor O'Sullivan, and Kev got really... Please don't say that. Please don't say that. So, obviously, I'm going to keep saying Trevor O'Sullivan. 0344 499 1000. Text to 87222. By now, you'll know there's only 2 stories in town. The Royals, the saga that is H&M. Michael says, I will never forget Meghan humiliating our late Queen by mocking her over her exaggerated curtsy in that dreadful Netflix programme. Harry looked shocked but said nothing. What a complete wimp. Andy's in Cornwall. Morning, my friend. Beautiful part of the country. At least Wills and Catherine know they'll be getting a selection of jam for Christmas at Sandringham. Good. Jez, just a thought, if anyone knows about broken families like me, I think you do, don't forget Harry will also be set to inherit a load of money. He needs it, but above all, she needs it. How long after will she leave Harry or want to move on again. This is great, though. That's one story. The other is this appalling article we got yesterday from the Home Office, Understanding Behaviours and Expectant Behaviour Patterns in the UK. This is a document for all illegal migrants. It just basically says, I know you're moving here. Moving to a new country can be difficult. Just need to give you a few pointers. Don't rape women. Don't abuse children. Go and stay with friends and family is the latest thing today, because if you stay with them, you've got more chance of bucking the system. As Kevin Spain says, what next? A Home Office guide for grooming gangs? 9:05, 0344 499 1000. Let's... Oh, Eric. Morning, Eric.
Morning, Jezza. Eric from Leeds. Harry and Meghan are here for long game. If the king is iller than we know, he's going to be able to sell that story that I came back to, you know, to be beside my father's side. And if they don't let him back into the fold, then they're going to look bad and they'll be able to say, well, they prevented me getting close to my father. I think this is just all a ploy to be able to sell the story.
It's really interesting. People want Meghan and Harry. They want to talk migration, Zarina. The production of that government leaflet proves that the many protesters outside those hotels were right. The government have absolutely no bloody chance to stand on any leg. Stop gaslighting us. Let's say good morning to a guest who always brings a degree of professionalism, intelligence, and I would say class to proceedings. Good morning, Isabel Oakeshott, Talks International Editor. How are you?
Didn't know who you were talking about there. That can't be me.
Are you in the kitchen?
No, I'm not. I am, although I am slightly worried because I've got this robot Hoover thing, which I've tried to go into a room where the robot Hoover is not whizzing around. But
is that like the robot grass cutter thing that they want me to buy that goes around, but I won't buy because it doesn't do straight lines?
It's literally just done what I didn't want it to do and come under my feet. So if there's a slightly odd whirring noise, it's the robot Hoover. Hopefully he'll poodle off to another room.
O'Sullivan's a mate of yours. He's really... I don't know what he must do nothing else but listen to this station. I, by mistake yesterday, called him Trevor... what did I call him? Trevor O'Sullivan.
You did. I heard you do it. I heard you.
And he went, enough of that. And I went, all right, Trev. And then he went, I've got low enough name recognition as it is as a joke. Anyway, I've just done it again. He says, cut the Trevor out, or it'll be Jim Kyle from me from now on. I don't mind Jim's better than Jeremy. Good man, though. What's he called again? Kev. He's on at 4 o'clock. It's great. Isabel, I feel like I want to ask you about the royals, just very briefly, and then we'll do lots on migration. What's your take?
I mean, I am fascinated by the story. You know, I'm not such a political nerd that I don't love a bit of royal story. I'm just certain that something big has happened to make this happen. You know, something has changed, hasn't it? This is not sort of been evolving over a very long period. Something dramatic has happened because only a few weeks ago, Harry was saying, I can't ever see myself coming back to the UK.
Yeah.
You know, he was saying he was sad about it. You know, I miss the UK. I'd love my children to have, you know, Britain as part of their upbringing. But he was like, well, I just can't ever see it happening. And we kind of know that Meghan hates it here. So what has happened? That's the intriguing question, isn't it?
And it's not even what's happened with them. This is my issue. And we could sit and talk about this forever, right? It's what their motivation is and what it's going to cost and what the end game is. Because you know and I know that with these two, there's always something to go with it, which is why I completely buy what you're saying. I don't know. I mean, maybe they've split. Maybe he wants his kids back here. Maybe she's got... I mean, there's rumours she's got an acting job. I mean, we said a suggestion this morning about television shows that she should be on or could come back, and people are asking me to just for one day only bring the Jeremy Kyle show back and get them on that. That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? I mean, I think the other thing that people are absolutely intrigued by is how much would you like to be a fly on the wall in the kitchen of William and Kate? What are they saying?
Well, I'm really, you might disagree. I'm so on their side. I think
totally.
I think she is the future, but more so for him. And I said this morning. Because the monarchy matters to him, because he's steeped in it, who adored his grandparents, he will not forgive Harry for what happened to the Duke of Edinburgh when the Oprah thing came out when he was dying. He won't forgive them even more so for what happened to the late, great Queen when there were all the shenanigans. But most of all, he knows that people around Harry and Meghan started squirting and spending out information about Kate and all those rumours when the poor woman, the mother of his kids, was at home suffering from cancer. And I think that's a no-no for him, and I back him completely. I really do.
Completely. I feel very sorry for them, really, because they have absolutely kept their heads down. I mean, I've got not a bad word to say about Princess Catherine.
Hear, hear.
Works so hard.
Iron Kate, I call her. Iron Kate.
She literally just gets on with it, doesn't she? She never, ever does put a foot wrong. You know, she just is exactly what everyone would hope for in the future of the monarchy. And I just think personality-wise, it seems to me, I've never been a royal reporter, so I've got no inside track on any of this, but I cannot see how she'll ever get on with Meghan. They are so different, aren't they?
And a point you also make, which is brilliant, is that the popularity... I mean, there was a poll out overnight. The British public overwhelmingly opposed to their return. William and Kate even more so than William, absolutely have the heart of the British public.
I think absolutely they do. And the thing is that Meghan is an endless attention seeker. I mean, both her and Harry are attention seekers, and they're attention seekers in precisely the type of media forums that William and Kate avoid. You know, William and Kate don't do kind of popular TV. They don't do showbiz. They don't do tabloids, which is precisely Harry and Meghan's chosen audience. So I just don't really see how this will work. I think it'll end in tears from Meghan's point of view. I believe that Harry's heart is in the UK. I believe that he could become the prodigal son, that there is a way back for him, because I think the British public are quite forgiving, even if Prince William is not. But I think that people will take a long time to trust Meghan, fairly or unfairly. I think there's a widespread view that she is the source of an awful lot of the problems. Now, that might be a kind of old sexist thing. I don't think it is. I think she genuinely is the source. Let's not forget what that pair said. I mean, I listened to some clips last night that were playing on Talk. You know, Harry literally talked about the British media being, and this is his word, bigoted. The British media is not bigoted. I didn't even realise that. I never think of Meghan as being of mixed heritage. I don't think of her as anything other than Meghan Markle or the Duchess of Sussex. That's him projecting, isn't it?
Let me play you. This is fascinating because don't show me that footage of her doing that curtsy because it really hacks me off because I love the Queen. Disrespectful. I honestly can't have that. But this sums up for me why anybody who cares about the British monarchy or our country should worry, because what they say on one day, they say they don't say that. This was her basically calling the royal family racist and him denying she said it. Watch these two.
Also, concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
What? In the Oprah interview, you accuse members of your family of racism. You don't even...
Well, the British press said that.
Right.
Did Meghan ever mention that they're racist?
She said there were troubling comments about
there was concern about his skin colour.
Right. Wouldn't you describe that as essentially racist?
I wouldn't, not having lived within that family.
Right.
For me, the difference is unconscious bias and racism. But if you are called out for unconscious bias, you need to make that right.
Isabel, doesn't that sum them up?
Stop reminding me of this. It was awful. I think Britain has been better without them, honestly. Yeah. I don't see how this goes well.
I completely and utterly agree with you. I think he is blank whipped. I think she's got an agenda, and I think that you lose most of your credibility, if not all of it, if you actually have the temerity to say, I want out, I want privacy, I want to bring my kids up, but what I'm going to do for the next 6 years is spend my time making money bitching about the very thing I don't want to be. Right, let's move it on. Great to hear your view on that. Yesterday was one of the low points of my life when I read this understanding behaviours and expectations of being a migrant coming to Britain. It's for all migrants. You are in the United Kingdom because you're seeking asylum. We understand that coming to this country will be very, very difficult, and that laws and customs may be different from your home country. Yesterday, we were told that they migrants were told not a good idea to rape a woman or abuse a child. Today, they're told, are you ready for this? New advice says, if you manage to stay with friends or family, you've got far more of a way of beating the system. Don't worry about it. This is on the same day this bloody useless government, right, literally said, Isabel, the French are becoming far more effective at stopping small boats. I mean, all of that's rubbish, isn't it?
I mean, it's so depressing, isn't it? Because it is just an admission of what we've always known and what we keep on telling the government and successive leaders. You are importing people into this country that do not behave as we would want anyone coming in and taking our hospitality to behave. They don't even, some of them, have the most basic ideas of civilized behavior and Western values. And, you know, the answer is not to provide a leaflet explaining how to behave. The answer is not to bring these people in the first place. As we all know, you don't have to be any kind of political expert to come up with that solution. As for the French becoming more effective, I'm not buying it. I think that deals are being done between the smugglers and the French police and the French authorities that allow the French a few little token wins. That's what I think is going on here. And make no mistake, when the French police, on the very rare occasion that they do actually prevent a migrant boat launch, the same passengers will be on another boat launch from another launch point the next day later.
To me, the whole thing is, and I don't want to even tread carefully. I've done this long enough. I think it's fast approaching a national emergency. I fail to understand. I'm not talking about reform in essence, but they're not in government. But I'm talking about a majority of politicians in Westminster. I am not convinced I'm not even talking about intelligence. I'm not even talking about that they can read the nation. I don't think there's a will. I don't know. I don't understand why across the party lines across Westminster, all sorts of people who are supposed to be intelligent go, Jesus, this is the most important thing to British people. Yes, of course, cost of living. But if you have your country being flooded by what's in terms of public services and institutions, the very tax-paying public who have paid for it are not, you are heading for trouble. And I'm not on this station to say what's going to happen or what isn't going to happen. But the British public are not going to accept this for much longer, Isabel. They can't.
Well, we don't accept it already. It's just that what can we do? You know, I don't think most people remotely accept it. Of course, there's some mad lefties that still seem to think that this is a humane thing to do, which it absolutely is not. And just while you were saying all that, I was thinking to myself, are there any other countries that are mad enough to be allowing something like this to just continue? And in a sense, the answer is no, because whilst other countries have some other countries have bigger scale illegal immigration problems, they're not islands with a very easy way of resolving this. You know, we have a huge advantage when it comes to the mass movement of people across borders, and that is that we are an island, and there aren't that many easy landing points or narrow routes to get to us. So yes, I mean, a few migrants or illegal immigrants are arriving to other points, to other landing points. There's something that's quite underexplored, I think, because it's probably quite difficult to actually crack as a story, but there are illegal migrants coming in on different types of vessels to rocking up at different harbours and different landing spots. But the majority of them are coming over this very, very narrow bit of the channel. And it is completely and utterly resolvable. And next week, we will be bringing you On Talk, our big exclusive, and we will touch on, amid our revelations, we will touch on one or two very, very simple ways in which this whole racket could be massively destabilized, undermined, potentially even dismantled without us having to go to war with the French or even use the Navy.
I can't tell you, peeps, all 14 of you that are listening, I cannot tell you. I saw a clip this morning. This is stuff you'll have never seen before. We can't give anything away. We're going to have Isabel on the show on Tuesday morning. She's going to tell us more about it, and then it's going to go live that evening. This is, I have to be really careful to get into trouble from the beardy weirdy. Nobody has provided this. That's as far as I'll go, but it is utterly, utterly extraordinary. And for all those mass media outlets, sit up and take notice, because the work that Isabel's done with Christian Drogan is absolutely unbelievable. You're right when you say we're an island. I mean, we've had 6 months of, we've got no water. Get some bloody water out the sea then and, you know, change it round. What do you do? Salination or whatever. And you're right. Close the bloody border, patrol the border. Are you telling me our armed forces couldn't? I just don't think, Isabel, that politicians understand the gravity of, the strength of how people feel. Of course we feel it, because we look at it every day. I've done my bit with Harry Redknapp when we went to Bournemouth. It's appalling. And we said it and it went viral, but it's true. It's like I didn't recognise the place. I'm sat having a coffee and there's tens, hundreds of illegal male migrants walking in packs up and down the street. Urinating in the street, drinking, swearing, leering over women, everything. Fact.
Oh, wow. I mean, I haven't actually been to Bournemouth for many years, but it seems like something that needs to be done, you know, just to see the change that's taken place. And it's sometimes in these traditional old seaside towns where the impact is most obvious, because obviously in the bigger cities, it's more diluted. I mean, Bournemouth's had an awful time. They've got 3, I don't know whether they're all still open. I'm pretty sure they are. They've got 3 massive migrant hotels right near the centre.
So there's a really posh part in Bournemouth called Sandbanks.
Yes. Oh my goodness, we all know about Sandbanks.
So we live near there. So
that's where you went. You didn't go to Bournemouth for bucket and spade. You went to Sandbanks. Is that the full disclosure?
No, I went to Bournemouth Town Centre to take my son for his theory driving test. So that's true. But I took the kids last summer with the to Sandbanks, to the beach. And we left after half an hour with the in-laws because there was about 40 of them walking up and down Sandbanks. This is not made up. Go and have a look. And for all those people, you know, I mean, the ex-Labour Minister Mike Tapp this morning says, test asylum seekers on UK laws. No, just don't let them in. How any government can think it's responsible to say we're going to let dangerous men in, but more than that, put it away from the sexual level and put it on the economic level, because these are economic migrants. Our public services are creaking, our taxes are ludicrous, and people are struggling, and we're going to let people in because apparently it looks good. Well, it doesn't look good with your own people, does it?
Absolutely not. So top tip, Jeremy.
Yes.
Instead of going to, I know why you had to do it for the driving test, very important thing. Instead of going to Sandbanks, you need to come to the Isle of Wight. It's very, very nice here, and you're not going to find anybody praying on the beaches, you know, a mass call to prayer. It's not a thing here.
Could I just ask you, because I don't think Tice is listening, are you inviting me to the Isle of Wight then?
Yeah, I am.
Sod that. I'll tell you, you asked me this weekend what I'm doing, Christian. Mrs. Kyle and the kids can wait. I'm off to see the oak shot in the Isle of Wight.
I'm evangelical about this place. It is so magical. You know, I wasn't one because it's just too special, but the beaches here are absolutely gorgeous.
Listen, it's great. And I just really want to reiterate, OK, I just want to reiterate this piece of work that you've done. And I don't usually blow smoke, but this is the finest piece of work that's ever been done. And I have to say, if you looked across journalists, print and filmed, nobody's done what Isabel and Christian are going to be able to bring to you. In fact, it was mentioned in a meeting yesterday, and 2 of the producers went, "What? Wow!" So to give you an idea of what we're going to do, Isabel's going to be on Breakfast on Tuesday, where she's going to introduce a few clips, and we're going to get the sort of general feeling of what to expect. And then it's going to be live as its own show, I think in the middle of drive time, between 5 and 6, is that right, on Tuesday? So Kev or Trevor will build up to it, and then you'll do the show. The show's been obviously recorded, and then I think you and Kev are going to dissect it afterwards. Is that right?
Brilliant. I genuinely, I can't wait. I'm so thrilled by what we've achieved here. It's not about me and it's not about Christian. It's about the intelligence that we've gathered. No one's done it. Let's just put it this way. The government has been in touch. They want our information.
The government has been in touch already?
Yep.
Would you give them that information?
Yeah, we would, because we're all about making things better. We're trying to help in our small way. We're trying to help solve this problem. And if all Andy Burnham can do is go and stand by an empty boat down in Dover, well, it'll have to be up to other people to go where others don't dare. Let's put it that way.
I can't wait. Apparently, I'm being told something in my ear. What are you saying to me? Right, just to finish, Trevor O'Sullivan, who just drive time, we've got a... Is it a promo card? Have a watch, have a look.
Oh.
Oh, he's going to go nuts. Great picture. Trevor O'Sullivan with the new Tash live on Drive. He looks like Danny Dyer has just been into a home. Trevor O'Sullivan is going to go mad. That was... Listen, I'm giving you publicity. Deal with it, O'Sullivan. Trev's on at 4. Isabel, we can't wait till Tuesday. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Well, I will, because I'll be seeing him in the Isle of Wight on Sunday. Back in 3.
There's two big pull factors. One is that they speak the English language, you know, because we spent a couple of centuries going around the world colonising it and teaching everyone our language.
There's the reason that the Labour Party will forever allow people to come to this country.
They've got a network of people that speak our language, and the other is that there is a black economy.
Sam, you're not telling me a majority of migrants who come to this country can speak English, are you?
A lot of them come because they feel they can work better in the English language than they can in many of the European languages.
Explain to me then why they don't bring their wives and children.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. So just to repeat that amazing piece of work that Isabella's done, it'll all happen Tuesday on Talk. So we line up today. Alex Phillips is here. Wow. David Bull in for Ian Collins is here. And your new drive time presenter with his... There he is, Trevor O'Sullivan. He's messaged me and gone, Christ, it's scary what AI can do. He says, I look like a bloody BBC weatherman. You look great, mate. We love the moustache. I think you look like an out-of-work porn star, to be perfectly honest. But anyway, Trevor O'Sullivan is here from 4 o'clock. It's the best drive show in this studio. 0344 499 1000. Ian, good morning.
Hi, Jeremy. It's Ian from East Grinstead. I'm getting a bit confused now when you talk about migrants. I don't know whether you're talking about the Channel migrants or the Montecito migrants.
Is that it? Is that it? Oh, I see Alex Phillips is wandering around. Leave my producer alone and get on with your own production. What's she doing now? She's starting, isn't she? What's she doing? Worries me slightly. 0344 499 1000. Just out of interest, Jezza, do you think that Andy Burnham has actually contributed bugger all to the country since he became Prime Minister? I find it very hard to find anything that he said of any substance. All he spoke about is buses and fly tipping. The man's utterly absurd. I give him until Christmas. Almost as soon as Prime Minister's question time starts, I think he's finished, says Reg. Loads of people with loads of different opinions. It's all about either migrants, Burnham, or Harry and Meghan. Barry and Enfield. The end game is Meghan won't spend much time here. They'll split eventually, but he slides back here with the kids without having to come back without his tail between his legs. We've done, Ian. You don't get him. I know, this is what I mean, honestly. Concentrate. Maybe, just maybe, says Tom, the King changed his will that in order for Harry to receive inheritance, he must return to the UK. Don't believe that for a moment. Will Harry and Meghan get new... will they get the new Home Office booklet about how to behave in the UK? Stephen in London? I don't think so. Will the Home Office do a pamphlet for the Brits on how to deal with mass immigration, says Darren. That might be useful. Jez, hi, Jez. My wife works in a GP surgery. If an immigrant who cannot speak English wants to see a doctor, they have to have a double appointment and a medical interpreter paid by the surgery. Jesus, I now feel Catherine is back on her feet and seems really happy and contented with life. Harry and Meghan can't stand that. They've tried to achieve it with the interviews and books and half succeeded. However, coming back to the UK will put a spanner in the work of the royals. It is sinister. Talking of which, there's loads of royal commentators, but there isn't anyone with the gravitas of my next guest, author of The Windsor Legacy, good mate as well, Robert Jobson. Good morning.
Morning, mate. How are you? Are you off to the Isle of Wight to see the Needles and to see Isabel? I was concerned about this flirting on the...
It's not flirting. I live very near. I can see the Needles. And Oakshott and I will spend Sunday talking about production values. What?
Wandering around the dinosaur park.
Do you want my Isle of Wight joke?
Go on.
What's green and steaming? No, what's brown and steaming and comes out of cows?
Go on.
The Isle of Wight ferry. Come on, crack on.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Very good.
How's luck? Where are you? Are you on a boat or are you home in England? What are you doing?
No, I'm in Essex, sunny Essex, and yeah, it's very nice. I'm looking over the Thames estuary. It's where the Shoebury Garrison used to be years ago when they didn't allow people to come by Thorpe Bay, but they never seemed to get past in the war. They never used to get. Not that I was here, but they never used to get down the Thames in those days. They had the garrison there since Napoleonic times.
They have indeed.
Making sure people didn't invade.
There you go. Yes, let's get them from Shoebury Nest down to the beach. Robbo, listen, there's so much about this story that broke yesterday, and with every sort of royal commentator we've talked about, I was desperate to get you on. Before I start asking specific questions, what's your take on the whole thing, buddy?
Well, I think it's about money, and I think it's about position. I think it's sad that they're using, in a way, the children in this respect, because if this is not permanent, you shouldn't be moving kids out of schools at 5 and 7. You've got to act a bit more responsibly than that. So it looks like if they are enrolling them in the schools, it can't have happened on Sunday. It can't have been, these things, you can be Mick Jagger. You can't just ring up a school and say, I want to my kids are joining you on such and such a date. There are procedures to enroll. What it means, I think that it means that Harry is going to try to inveigle his way back into royal duties long term. It's the only way that they're going to get full-time royal security. The king will basically has been forced into a position, but I think he probably wants some form of reconciliation. He'll remember that he was very deeply unpopular after Diana's death, as was Camilla, and he believes in the long game, but I think he's misguided on this one. I think he's deeply misguided because he probably, with his illness, and we hope that we know that he's doing his best there. But the reality is, he probably wants there to be some sort of rapprochement between his sons before the inevitable happens. That's wishful thinking, and it's also damaging to the monarchy, deeply damaging to the monarchy after what Harry has said about our country, about the way he behaved when the late Queen was alive, or that horrible Kurt's deep bow that Meghan did, the cashing in that's been going on. It just seems they've obviously failed in America. The American dream is over for them. And it's about money, making sure that they're secure long term. And I think the kids are a little bit of a pawn in all this.
I literally have to say this, not to blow smoke. You've summed it up to me perfectly. There's so many things I want to throw at you. Do you think the King knew before Sunday then?
Yeah. I think maybe they confirmed it Sunday. I can't believe that there wasn't a conversation about this when they were together at Highgrove. I think that a lot of members of staff kept in the dark about that interview, that meeting at Highgrove. I think there wouldn't have been any staff present, maybe just luckily Camilla being there, and she's a sound person to listen in. But I don't believe that the King didn't know beforehand. No.
There's talk that the removal, or rather the fact that his private secretary Clive Alderton is leaving is tied into this because he's never been particularly popular with Harry. However, I'm told that Clive Alderton was actually behind brokering that meeting that you just talked about at Highgrove. Do you think that's relevant to this story?
I don't think that's true.
You don't? OK.
I think there's going to be more members of staff leaving as well. I'm not sure. I think there's going to be a lot more members of staff. Bernie Flannery's just gone, the butler, after 40 years, but he would have been the guy taking phone calls from Harry and having to sort of, when Charles didn't want to speak to him, saying, oh, no, we can't reach him. I don't know how. I mean, obviously, we'll wait and see exactly what Clive knew and didn't know, but I think that it's going to be, I think he was called the Wasp, wasn't he? Or it was insinuated he was the Wasp in Spare. I think the King's making a mistake. I mean, I'm a great supporter of the King, as you know, but I think that this is going to. You can't have two courts operating in the same country. That was clear when we had the abdication crisis at 36. What happens if William and Catherine are doing a major job on the grid, which is organised so that the King and William don't clash? What happens when they go to Earthshot in India, and the King is in the Caribbean for Chogga? What happens when we have Meghan and Harry with an Instagram photographer turn up, take pictures of them in a hospital or whatever? It's just going to throw the place into disarray. And I think
why do you think then? Here's the question: is he iller? Is it reconciliation? Because there's big stuff in the paper this morning. I put William and the monarchy first. Why then do you think he's acting in a way that you and I both think is a mistake if it's true? Why is he doing that?
Well, he knows he has a finite time on this planet. I don't believe that he's ill. I don't think he's got a dramatic change in his health. He's got scheduled appointments coming up, but I don't think that's the case. But he does realise that he's not in remission, and he's living with cancer, and so he probably focuses his attention on trying to avoid a house divided being a house that falls. This is the point. He probably he didn't want his reign to be dominated by a friction and problems, but Harry is the one that's created, and Meghan is the ones that created this.
I was going to say,
not William.
He doesn't want a house divided, but in fact, in my opinion, and I'm guessing yours, this is going to divide it, because one thing I've said all morning, and I ain't changing for anybody, is I am completely and utterly on William and Kate's side. The reason that I am that is William, because he was steeped in the importance of the royalty, the monarchy, by his grandmother every Sunday. We know he used to go from Eton to Windsor Castle for lunch. He saw what it did to his grandfather, what happened when his grandfather was dying, when the Oprah Winfrey came out. He watched what it did to the wonderful late Queen with Spare and the decision she had to make. And more than anything, and you know this better than me, a lot of the BS that surrounded Kate's sort of disappearance emanated from friends and sources near to Harry and Meghan. They didn't stop it, they encouraged it. And if your partner was suffering from cancer and somebody in your family was pushing rumours around that there were other deeper reasons, I couldn't forgive that. And all those people are jumping up and down and saying, oh, William and Kate need to forgive and forget. No, they've done nothing but play correctly and behave impeccably. And the other two have not. And that, in my world, means that I know exactly where I stand on this.
I think that William will see the bigger picture. I think that his time with His Majesty the Queen, it was so important because she was always the one who was able to see the bigger picture. Maybe slightly blindsided by the former Prince Andrew, but let's be perfectly honest here. I get on my Substack, I'm getting lots of people from Australia, other Commonwealth realms. They're saying they don't believe the king is doing a good job. This is a big error. I was a monarchist. I'm a monarchist no longer. This is extremely dangerous to the institution long term. And those around the king should, and I mean, a lot of them are leaving. There'll be more that will be leaving. I won't say who.
Why?
Because it'll come out eventually. But the reality is, this is at this moment, because people seem to think that people are leaving because the king's sicker than he is. I don't think that's the case. I think they look at their situation and they say, right, we don't believe in what's going on here. And I think that it's a huge mistake by the king. And I don't criticize him very easily, but I think that, you've either got to be in or out. Now, if Harry is coming back and there's going to be security, he's got to be on the inside of the tent, not the outside of the tent. Number one, he's got also to be apologising for what he has said, not only about the king and about the family, the betrayal, but about his brother. He's got to apologise and do it publicly, and also apologise to the nation. I mean, according to him, our country was unsafe for him and his wife to be in. Now, all of these things have got to be done. You can't just wander back, make out you're the cheeky chappy act and do a few silly things, because we do know, don't we? When the royalty turn up and you're in a royal situation, everyone goes a little bit gaga who's actually at that event. They're all wearing their best bib and tucker and nobody says a word. But they just start to realise, I think His Majesty needs to say that when the BBC is showing the Republic movement on Trooping the Colour, and they are getting bigger and louder, these are yellow umbrellas, the people shouting, not our king, not my king, this, and criticising Andrew quite rightly, even though he hasn't been convicted of anything yet. All of these things are damaging to the institution long term. Having Harry... If Harry is coming back to the UK, he has to be on the inside. He has to say, "I'm giving up all commercial activity.
Completely.
I work for the royal family." And he has a role to play. He served impeccably in
Yes,
the
he did.
services.
Yes, he did. But can I
he could put on a uniform and he could do that element of the side that the royal family does. But he's got to give up the commercial side of it.
Do you know what? You've said things that nobody else has said, and I absolutely agree. What you just said, just to finish this, from my mate Rob, who's an utter royalist. Do you know what he's put? Listen to this. "I am refusing to watch or listen to anything regarding these two lying grifters. I've had enough, and of course, as Robert's just said, the king knew. I think he knew about Andrew. The whole royal show in my mind is in tatters, and I will not re-engage until William is king. It makes me mad. The way they behave, they don't deserve the attention. I'm not going to give it, and I bet millions feel the same. If the whole thing was stopped tomorrow, I'd be happy the way I feel until William and Kate are on the throne." I suspect millions feel like that. Listen, Robert, brilliant, mate. Fantastic as ever to see you. Hopefully we'll get you in the studio very soon, but good luck with everything. And The Windsor Legacy is the book. Go buy it from Robert Jobson. Morning, Dave.
Morning, Jez. Dave in Leyland. Just taking a break from earning tax. Just would like to drop this pamphlet idea into a war scenario. So if we were back in times of war like World War I, World War II, whoever it would be that would be fighting against, we drop pamphlets. Right, you can come in, but there's a few rules. We don't like being shot at. Okay, so you can't shoot us. Same with bayonets, that kind of thing. We'll have no plundering. We don't want anything plundered. No sieges, they're banned. You can't siege a village. You can't burn a village. No sacking of cities. That's a big no-no. And you can't win. Okay, you're not allowed to have a victory. So as long as you're okay with them rules, come on in.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Can I just say, he's not called Kevin O'Sullivan, he's called Trevor O'Sullivan. We've got his new promo card. There you are. So he's on Drive. There is. I said he looks like an out-of-work porn star, and Kev just texted me, porn star, fine, but out of work. You get a bit harsh there, Jezza. 9:45. Let's say a very good morning to the author, Paul Embry. Paul, good morning.
Good morning, Jeremy.
Now, we've never spoken, but they said to me, this guy's excellent. Are you excellent, Paul?
Well, it's very kind of them to say so, but I guess I'll leave it to others to judge, I think.
Good man. We really wanted to get your opinion on this bloody booklet that this government... I mean, I've struggled to even keep not a straight face. I'm just so angry. This document that came out yesterday that basically said to illegal, unvetted migrant men, if you do want to succeed in the United Kingdom, don't rape women and don't abuse children. Today, they've gone further and said, if you want to beat the system, go and live with a family or friends, and that'll help you get, you know, security or settled status in England. Paul, what's your answer to a situation that seems to be increasingly saying to the British public, thanks for working hard and paying your tax and living within the confines of the law, but I know it's hard at the moment because we're going to favour illegal migrants over you?
Well, I think the booklet is quite revealing in many ways because, of course, for many years, the kind of liberal political establishment in this country has been denying really outright that there is any kind of link between large numbers of people coming in from backgrounds and cultures about which we know little or might be alien to our own culture, and rising crime in certain areas such as sexual offences, and actually have demonised anybody who tried to make that case, even in the most temperate way. And this seems to me to be an admission that actually that link does exist, which, you know, brings us on to the next point. Well, if that link does exist, when I think the evidence probably shows that it does, then we should be taking a much more robust approach in terms of who we allow to come into the country, and moreover, when they're in the country, what sort of freedoms and liberties they have, and where they're entitled to go, and so on. So I think that in some respects it's an admission on behalf of the political establishment that actually what British people have been saying for a number of years, many of them, and what the evidence has been pointing towards is actually true.
I mean, I think that's your problem, isn't it? Because, I mean, I sit here every day almost with my mouth on the floor saying, do these people, these politicians, do they have the intelligence, the gumption, the balls to understand that the British people are demanding politicians who don't gaslight us and say, oh, you can't talk about that, it's racist. No, it's not. There are women and girls being attacked. There are men arriving, not with their wives and children. No, yes, they've passed through 7, you know, safe countries. They've jumped on a boat, they've come here. They throw their papers in the water and they take advantage. And there's a word that keeps coming out, you know what, Paul, and it's unfairness. And the silent majority, I think, have woken up to the fact that the unfairness is not right. And I think we've shown ourselves as a country in the past to be a country that cares. Think about Ukraine, the homes for Ukrainians. But I also think there comes a point where, and you can never find a better phrase, where I think a lot of people in England are realising or thinking that actually this should start at home charity, because they're struggling with a cost of living crisis. They're struggling with all sorts of things. And, you know, that age-old argument, you know, oh, well, you don't know what it's like to live in a war-torn country. No, but a lot of these men are not coming from war-torn countries. They're coming here because we wipe their arse and give them a better standard of living than they have at home. Well, that's OK if you can afford it. But if you can't afford it and you're doing that to the detriment of the indigenous population, then you're in trouble, aren't you?
Well, I've always argued, as you know, I'm on the left politically, and have been for all of my adult life. And you can be the most pro-immigration person in the world, but you have to accept that actually the ballot box is like a pressure relief valve. And if the population of a particular country, such as in Britain, have time and time again voted in such a way to send a message to the political elites, look, we are unhappy at the sheer pace and scale of immigration into our country and the effect that it's having in terms of community cohesion, downward pressure on wages and so on, and we want you to do something about it. And the mainstream parties keep promising time and time again to do something about it, to get it under control, and then fail to do it, then actually people have got a right to raise the whole question about whether or not democracy is working for them. And when they see that actually going into the ballot box and voting for something and never getting it, and the impact on that in terms of their communities and their lives, it's no wonder people feel, well, the only alternative we've got now is to take to the streets and to protest and to make our views known in unconventional ways. And I mean, as I said before, I'm on the left, and the left once believed in regulation of the labour supply. The vast majority of people on the left, trade unionists, Labour MPs, understood that you had to regulate the labour supply so as to allow governments to be able to control and manage things like housing and welfare and employment and wage levels and so on. And actually the kind of open borders utopianism position was largely the preserve of people on the far left, Trotskyists and anarchists and so on. What's happened in recent years is that has turned about completely, and the mainstream position on the left has been open borders, and those of us on the left who have still argued for robust controls are now demonised as some kind of right-wing reactionaries and populists and followers of Tommy Robinson.
But just to jump into that, this is what I don't get, and it's fascinating. It's great to have you on. You can have different politics, but presumably whether you're a Tory or a Reformer or a Liberal Democrat or a Labour supporter or a Green, he says, trying not to spit on the floor, presumably your core audience wants to hear that you've got ideas that would make your life better, but certain parties would have different ways. There isn't anybody who doesn't deny, except for Zach Polanski, that this is having a detrimental effect on the British people. I give you very quickly Epping as an example, and I bring your government into this. I've never been more appalled in my life. 2 migrants, school next door to the hotel, girl attacked. Local residents came out quite rightly and said, this is unacceptable. Mothers and daughters. Local council, let's salute Epping Council. Local council stood up and went, do you know what? Absolutely. And they went to court and they won an injunction. And the Labour government said, they went to court, to the council and said, the rights of migrants are as if important, if not more important, than the indigenous population. I don't care what you vote for. You're talking about women's safety there. That's barking mad.
And some of what you've said there, I think, is a major contributory factor to the fact that we are seeing and have seen in recent years a major political realignment in this country. What we've seen on the issue of migration is what I've described as calamitous state failure.
Yeah.
Well, partly state failure and partly, you know, the Liberal establishment actually wanting large-scale immigration for what they deem as positive economic or cultural reasons. And what that's done, I think, is not only kind of realigned the entire political process in this country, but it's made immigration again, and this is the really tragic thing, it's made immigration a massive issue again, because we've kind of gone past that. You know, after the 1970s, the days of the National Front marching through areas of high numbers of minority ethnic people, when you got to the 1990s, immigration was largely a non-issue in this country because people felt that the whole thing was being regulated properly. Net migration was fairly low, tens of thousands and so on. And then when the brakes came off, and then suddenly you had EU enlargement, the emergence of the new global market, New Labour being very in favour of high levels of immigration, all of a sudden people felt that their sense of place, their sense of belonging had been violated, that they were experiencing downward pressure on wages in certain industries and so on. And now we're back to immigration being a major topic in our politics. That is entirely the fault of the political establishment.
Couldn't agree more, mate. Honestly, I could listen to you forever. I apologise we have to cut in, but the show is nearly done. But we appreciate your comments. Good to have you on. Thank you, Paul Embry, trade unionist and author. 6 minutes to 10. Back in 3.
Zia Youssef is one very, very popular amongst the base, absolutely. And I think one of the reasons he is popular is because he speaks from the hip. He speaks in a language and with an attitude that is shared in pubs up and down the country, but not necessarily in Westminster seminars.
Do you think he gets away with being a loose cannon, whereas Tim Montgomery doesn't? Tim Montgomery gets suspended, Zia Youssef gets hugged closer.
There's a big difference. Tim is an ordinary party member. He is not a spokesperson. He is not an elected member. He's not on the board. He literally has no role in the party.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. 3 minutes to 10. Alex Phillips is on the way. What is it? What does it say here? I've got a... yes, sorry. I've got loads of... Trevor looks very handsome and young in that picture, says Kim in North Wales. This is Kevin O'Sullivan, who's no longer on Drive. He's been replaced by Trevor O'Sullivan with a moustache, and he is, in fact, looking lovely. She says, this is brilliant, give the Understanding Behaviours booklet to Trevor O'Sullivan. I love that, says Andy. Talk, I think King Charles should abdicate now and hand over to William or Trevor O'Sullivan. Trevor O'Sullivan's going to be the next King of England, for Christ's sake. He's got everything. Great show, Pammy. I didn't know she was on. Trevor looks very handsome and young in that picture, Kim in North Wales. Morning, Jez. Absolutely can't wait until Prime Minister's Question Time start and Kemi and Farage get to tear that joker Burnham apart. I'll show him then. They'll show him. He'll be out of a job in a heartbeat. Linda in Stalybridge. The migrants are costing us for the cost of living because they live free and we are paying for it, which puts the cost up too. And finally, Paul in Belfast. Megaturn, or Meg Back, we're calling it, Meg Back, is the beginning of the end for the Sussex brand. It's so obvious it's born out of desperation, Harry's unhappiness and a lack of money and marriage problems. Us Brits will never forgive Meghan. She will return to the USA pretty soon when she realises she cannot sway the British public. A couple of minutes to 10. Where did I get the energy from? Alex Phillips, good morning.
Good morning. Have you heard the gossip that she's coming back to acting and she's already signed up to a UK show?
She has.
What is it? What?
The Jeremy Kyle show.
Oh, okay. The old one? You're going to bring it back?
No, she's doing a comedy called Only Fools and Sauces. I bought you some chocolate.
Oh, thanks.
From M&S. Do you not like... Do you not... What's wrong with it?
Well, I don't really do chocolate and I don't particularly like Turkish delight, but thank you. You didn't actually buy it for me, did you?
No, I bought it for myself, but
Yeah,
I hadn't eaten it. But I thought you might like it. What have you got coming up? Busy show.
Well, we're going to be talking about that and also
Harry and Meghan.
Absolutely mad leaflet. Well, it's not a mad leaflet. It's a very sane leaflet because we've known for ages that there are people coming over here who are basically sex tourists, right? So they come from countries...
It's a great word, that phrase, rather.
Yeah, they come from countries where they don't even get to look at a bare ankle.
Don't rape women, don't abuse children.